Hello and welcome to the Inbetween podcast. I'm user host Joe Scron. I'm joined by Tony Turns@RT. How are you, Tony?
Hello, it's another Sunday, another
It's another
success
wonderful. Yeah,
in my eyes.
we finally made it on a Sunday. I'm recording the podcast.
Yeah.
And can I say what a week for news? What a 2 weeks for news. Tony, I wrote down on the quick news. I was going through like everything that's happened in the past 2 weeks, and I was just like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Randy Pitchford said some dumb shit. That's par for the course. He said something like, people were asking, is Borderlands 4 going to cost $80? I hope not. And he said, true fans will make it happen. And then he
will make it happen.
But then he was also like, he was also like, but I don't know how much it's going to cost. That's not my department, so I have no idea. And then like there's like the 9600 XT, and there's the 5060 with 8 GB model, and graphics cards are really fucking boring. So I don't care about graphics cards either.
Yeah.
So I think mostly this week it's just we both have brand new Sony headphones. You got
sync the sound.
Yeah, you got the XM5, the Buds, and I've got the XM6, the brand new cans from the headphone version.
Yeah, I got the black ones, by the way. You get there's three colors. I think there's like white, black, and
we're gonna be gold. There was some Warhammer, mostly remaster announcements from Warhammer. Bit of Anno news, some releases, and I'll talk about some games I've been playing, some more anime stuff I've been watching, and we both watched Eurovision. If you briefly want to talk about Eurovision for a bit as well, because that might be interesting. But I just wanted to start with tell me about the XM5s, because I have never owned a pair of Sony earphones, but I do own Jaybirds, which technically are like a branch of Logitech now because they got bought, but these are like sports earbuds. So I don't know anything about like, because you wear earbuds just like around the house, and to me, I don't like wearing earbuds if I don't have to, but I specifically have like sports earbuds so I can wear them with a bicycle helmet on when I'm out cycling.
Yeah. I just like I just like to, from the way I see it, just like I got the WH XM4s. Is it the one I've got on my head now? Is that right? Yeah, it must be.
Yeah, sure. I just call them XM.
So to me,
XMs and pretend the earphone doesn't exist.
Yeah. But yeah, to me, it's like the headset like I use on my computer, like it's only connected to my computer. Like I could do the dual connection thing to my phone, but that's what I'm currently doing with my earbuds. Like I've got that. I've not done my new ones yet, but it's on my phone, but I'm dual connected to my laptop. So I use them at work all the time, like listen to music or podcasts.
Yeah, because you can add
earbuds.
Use the Sound Connect app.
I use it to customize the stuff, yeah.
But because like under the Sound Connect app, you can actually, because I have my XM6s and my XM4s both on here, and I can select between them, sort of thing. Because I
just don't want to have to open it all the time. I'd rather just like it just worked. So just like I don't want to switch. I do find switching annoying with Bluetooth, to be honest. I don't think it's a Bluetooth protocol thing. I think it's just like how different devices handle Bluetooth stuff. Like Windows, I think is some of the worst connection stuff. Like Android is like actually pretty good, but it's still like a bit maybe not sticky, but it's like not quite what I'm looking for. Like, no, don't connect to that so quickly. It's like
I've actually found like
I'm curious now how this is going to work with my laptop.
Yeah, it depends on like what Bluetooth you're like. Are you going to use a dongle with your laptop, or does your laptop have like an inbuilt?
No, it has barely Bluetooth already on there. It's got an Intel that combined antenna sort of thing.
Well, that's good.
I always use like on my computer. I always just use like the inbuilt. It's not Intel. I think it's like a MediaTek thing on the motherboard, which is like a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth module. That's pretty common these days. If you ever look at like I don't know, you probably never looked at buying these modules, but
the Intel
I have for various reasons. They're almost always combo. And Intel's always the best as well.
Yeah, like people always say like Intel does the best because
I
people were modding their Steam Decks to add the Intel
yeah.
Wi-Fi and Bluetooth module to their Steam Deck.
I don't know. I'm not saying this. What they're saying is untrue. Like, I'm saying like I don't actually see it, but it's like I never had a problem with the MediaTek stuff. I'm really curious to know like what specific problems people are having. I wonder if I'm just happen to be lucky with like the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth signals that I'm using. I'm not. My understanding is that the Intel ones are like much better with when it's noisy environments. I believe that's the case.
Mm.
And it handles like disconnections a lot easier or something. But I've never had an issue with the MediaTek stuff, so I can't.
I don't know.
I don't care which one I get.
I was using because I got a motherboard without Bluetooth, and people were like, "Why would you not get one with Bluetooth?" And I was like, "Why would I want Bluetooth modules soldered onto my motherboard? I'm just going to change it in a couple of years." Like when it comes to
Yeah.
the actual dongles. 'Cause I was using the Asus Bluetooth dongle. It's like I don't know, £10, maybe even less, but it's just basically a
So this is like a is this like a USB dongle? Or is this an
yeah.
adding card?
No, this is a USB
Yeah,
dongle, and
my
this has
issue.
been
I really do not like USB Bluetooth dongles. I've had so many issues with them over the years.
this Asus one is a Bluetooth 5.0 one, and it's been perfect. It's actually really good. I would recommend this Asus one. It's Bluetooth 5.0, but the headphones I have now are 5.3. So I got a new Ugreen one, which is plugged in now, so I can't unplug it and show it to you. But I was like, I wanted to try one that had like a longer antenna on it to see if I can get longer range, because I wear my headphones like 24 hours a day, and I walk downstairs with them. And every time I'm about to enter outside the kitchen to go to the bin in the room next to it, I'm like, I stop myself and hold my head out of it, and I like reach my arms through, and I put the trash in the bin. Otherwise, my headphones disconnect. And I was like, I wonder if I get like a longer, like upgrade the Bluetooth on the dongle and get one with like an antenna for a longer range. Can I get further in that room? I knew the garage would be a pipe dream, because I know as soon as I enter that garage, all connection is lost. It's a big like, room with
your Faraday cage.
Yeah, metallic door, like that big thick walls, like that's going to be a pipe dream. And I can confirm, after upgrading my headphones and the Bluetooth dongle with an antenna and a new Bluetooth version, and I can confirm I can get a couple more steps into the room next to the kitchen. So that's huge progress.
So from my perspective, the reason I like it just being integrated in like the motherboard handler. I don't see like having to upgrade to the latest one, like as long as it's above 5, which I believe I've got 5.1, maybe 5.2 on my motherboard. I think it's 5.1. But I think it's fine above. Like just aim for above 5, in my opinion. Like 5.2 does have some nicer stuff that, like, I think it has like the better multi-connection stuff, but that doesn't really bother me, and I've had no issue with it.
I think the thing that's interesting with Sony specifically is a lot of the there's a thing called aptX HD, which is like another Bluetooth standard, but to use that you have to be on a Snapdragon system, and Sony doesn't want to work with Snapdragon, so they're like, no, we're going to do our own codec, which is that LC3, which is their own version of like low energy efficient Bluetooth, and not many things actually support LC3. And if you're like me, you can't have Snapdragon or LC3 because you have an iPhone, and Apple doesn't support anything but their own codecs.
I think both sides are being stupid. Like, it should just be like, just do standard. Like, normally, like when you're part of like the Bluetooth like coalition and stuff, like you can add to like you can add like your own things, like add to it to like make it proprietary. I don't understand what the hell they're doing.
But yeah, was there any? What earbuds were you using? Did you have earbuds before? Or is it just the XM4?
Yeah. I was using the XM3 earbuds from Sony. Like, I think it was like one of the first. I don't know what the 1s and 2s were, but I believe these were like the first like the Apple earbuds. Like, they were the first ones like that. I think the older ones were more either they weren't ever any earbuds, and they were just headphones before. But I think these were like the first proper ones. But yeah, so a lot bulkier. They stick out your ear more. Yes, the new
Mm.
ones, like the case is a lot smaller. I assume they're more efficient because the battery is clearly smaller, but they're getting more battery life both in the earbuds and the total. Obviously, I'm comparing this with noise cancelling on. 'Cause why
Yeah.
would you look at the numbers with them off? That'd be insane.
That's the reason
But
I
yeah, they just
get
fit in the
Bluetooth
ear better.
headphones was I want to get the latency back of wearing Bluetooth, but I can't
Mm.
live without noise cancelling now because I've become so accustomed and used to it. Like it feels
Yeah.
like you're just taking the edge off life. Is how I would describe it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like it just feels a
I,
bit nicer to be,
it also makes things sound better.
Mm.
Like the actual like quality of the this music I listen to is like, oh, that sounds much
Well,
better when noise cancelling is
there
actually
is
on.
have you tried DSEE Extreme?
No.
I don't know if that's in the earbuds, but it's been in the headphones
I
of the Sony ones since the XM4s. And one
I
of the
don't think my phone supports it. I think it's grayed out the option. So, but yeah, I did see
I
that
don't
one.
think
The sound
it's not
grayed
it's
out.
not it's not a phone thing. It's processed on the chip
Oh, well,
of the headphones.
yeah, but it's grayed out for me, so I don't know why I can't use it.
It might not be on the earbuds because I'm guessing
Possibly.
they don't have like a enough space for their own silicon in terms of like big enough, because it's basically what it does is
Possibly.
it uses AI to try and
Yeah.
take back and improve the quality of like low quality music and make it sound better. I heard it was like a absolute battery killer in the XM4s. I've not tried it out in the XM6s,
Yeah.
but I'm actually kind of curious to maybe try with it more because I've gone from XM4s to XM6s, which means the processor on the sound driver and the headphones is a lot better. And I would say like going from the XM4s to XM6, like the noise cancellation does sound a lot better as well, which is nice. Um, I would say like maybe it's because I've had these headphones for like I don't know how a week and a half, something like that. But like I'm currently feel like the XM4s are more comfortable. I could wear the XM4s for years and just never want to take them off. And I still do wear the
Okay.
XM4s when I'm watching my TV because
Oh right.
but maybe I'm just not used to the XM6s yet because they're more of like
Well,
you can fold these headphones again, Tony, because the XM4s you can just fold them up and put them away.
yeah. I love that.
And with the XM5s, they completely changed that. You could not fold them up, and then we had Hingegate, where lots of people hinges were breaking.
Oh
But with
really?
the
I didn't know that. Okay.
XM6s, you can fold them up again. They just fold up and be put away really easily, which is nice.
As in- Yeah, I don't know why they removed that because it's like they yeah like because I don't like hang my headphones at the moment. I don't have like a surplus. I just put it back in the box and like so it's just an easy place to store it at the moment. I probably
Mm.
should just like hang it up.
But yeah, I got the XM4s because and I ordered a Bluetooth dongle, which was the Asus one, I think, when that came, and I was like, oh, I got the dongle so I could use my DualSense controller of my PC wirelessly, and then I was just going to
Mm.
use the XM4s to watch TV in the evening to not disturb anyone, and literally as they came, my other Logitech headphones just completely died, so I just started using the XM4s as my main headphones, and that's when I was like, oh, I kind of fucking love active noise cancellation constantly. It is
Yeah.
very nice to have on, especially like for me. I in the summer I'll usually have like an air conditioning unit on, and it just completely cuts the edge off that sort of thing. And yeah, it's nice. But yeah. So the main reason I got the XM6s was I fucking love the XM4s, and I was like, well, I could. It was allowing me to get like a better version of the XM4s while also basically retiring the XM4s from being, because every time I used the XM4s, I would have to pair them to my PC, unpair them from my PC, then pair them to my TV. Because you can pair to multiple devices
Yeah,
with the Sony stuff,
yeah.
which is very useful. But the problem is, one of those devices always has to be your phone in order to switch them, because you need
Yeah.
to get paired
It's
to the
so annoying.
phone to use the app. So it says you can have it
Yeah.
paired to multiple devices at once, but it pretty much always has one of the devices always has to be the phone. so you can use the app. So pretty much it was like I got to disconnect them from my computer, then go into the bedroom, then connect them to the TV, and then I could use them. But now they're just for the computer, and then I take these off, and then I just put the XM4s on for an hour or so when I watch TV before bed, and then I only have to worry about charging those like probably once a month then or something like that. And then I just upgraded these ones. So that's why I upgraded. Also, I was looking into dongles, Tony. I've actually ordered this one. It's the Flugu FMA 120. There is no point because you go on Amazon and there's like 500 Chinese made like Bluetooth. There's your Ugreens, your fucking, your Anchor looking stuff.
At least
there's
at least those are names that stay consistent. There's also loads of other names that just like always changing. Just like
there was another one. I think it was Creative, which I used to own a Creative Zen back in the day. If you've ever heard of that, it was like they made some of like the first like non iPod like MP4 player sort of things. I had a Creative Zen back in the day, at which I would watch MP4s that I'd recorded off the TV with the adverts on it. Because I had like one of those internet TV things, so I'd do that.
Oh yeah,
but this is just like a Australian company who they make this thing, and I think they then they sell it in Australia and the US. But they sell it through Amazon, so I was able to get it on Amazon, and I think it's coming in like a week. And I didn't have to pay any shipping because they're just transferring it from the American Amazon to the EU Amazon.
Yeah, they just do it on mass themselves. Yeah.
But the really cool thing about this one is it supports the LC3 the LC3 codec. So I will be able to get 20 ms latency with the XM6s on my PC, which means that's pretty much just like 2.4 gigahertz latency, I would say. I don't know the exact, but that's really good latency for gaming. Like, I think that's what I'm going to use. So, yeah, that's really cool. Because they have like a gaming mode on there, sort of thing, which
because like I guess even on the app for the current like earbuds, you can like prioritize quality or latency, right? Or
but also because it comes with
so.
its own firmware as well, which is nice.
Yeah.
But also
that's good.
It should allow me. Not that I'm going to do this, but the issue I've been having with Bluetooth shit on Windows for the longest time is if you have a Bluetooth microphone inside the headphones, you have to disable it. Otherwise, it completely ruins your Bluetooth settings and stuff on the PC because it will basically trigger your listening headphones to go into hands-free mode, which is like this much lower quality version, and it just like completely garbles stuff on like Discord and absolutely destroys it. So like what I've been doing is I've just been disabling the microphone on the Bluetooth headphones, turning off hands-free latency in the device manager, and then just using a standalone microphone. But like for most people, you're just going to want to use the microphone on the headset, and like the microphone in the headset's better. There's like 12 microphones in the new XM6s now because they're...
so they cancel the background stuff. And
there's much more like noise cancellation mics on there as well. So I heard the mic is better.
Yeah, is there beamforming microphone maybe as well that they're using like multiple things to like combine it together to like try and actually get an accurate, like try and guess where your mouth is, sort of thing?
I know they said that they've improved the ability to recognize voices. You can have it so that like it can let voice. There is like a transparency mode thing I was trying out that's quite good. And you
so I just want to speak about that actually. Is that my biggest problem with a lot of headphones these days is transparency mode. I do not like the transparency on the XM4 headset. I think it adds like a fuzzy, like just fuzz, a static sound. It has a static. I don't know what your experience with that is.
So from the XM6s, it's really good. I don't have a static sound. I do have surround sound, or I think surround sense, I think it's called, on the on the Jaybird Vistas 2, and I almost never use it because it is unusable on a bicycle. Because if you let in so I think
There's more like wind noise and stuff
I've
that it
never
could cancel
used
out.
Sony in-ears or like the XMs, but like to get good noise cancellation, do you need a fuck ton of microphones inside
Yeah,
the space of the headphones? And then when you're talking about an earphone, that's even less space you can have for microphones. So
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
really hard to do noise cancellation on earbuds. But like
But my thing is I don't understand. Like I think there's just like a processing of the sound. Like, I assume more microphones that might help this and a better processor, probably more power hungry. But it's like, yeah, it's just like I want because like I don't like something I have a problem is like oh I want to like hear someone shout at me like at the moment someone has to come into my room and like not quite tap me on the shoulder, but it's like that almost that bad. It's like someone's like oh I'm waiting for a knock at the door or something. Like I don't have at my parents' house. I don't have like a smart doorbell or anything. So
yeah.
like so I just can't wear my headphones. So I just wanted a pass through. I'd probably use noise cancelling most of the time, but I want a pass through that's good that doesn't add a staticky sound. That's all I
Right,
want.
okay.
I just want a clean pass through sound that's at least as good as my normal hearing. That's all I
Yeah,
want.
because with the XM6s they've changed it now. Because before you had like a button for power and a button for cycling A and C.
Yeah, yeah,
And it was like the same button. It was just like a knobbly button. Now with this one, they've made
yeah.
like a specific power button that is like a rounded one, and then there's like a separate like not old knobbly button just to like turn ANC on and off. But like for me, like if someone's talking to me, I just take an earphone off. Like I've never once been
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, I need transparency mode. Quickly toggle this on. It's like if somebody's talking to me,
Oh
I
yeah,
just take my headphones off.
yeah. Yeah. But I've seen adverts of that, and it's like, yeah, I just turn my comparison. Like, why are you being a dick? Just take your headphones off. But still, like, my specific use case is like, especially just like moving to a house where I'm by myself soon, right? I think, how am I going to hear the door? Like, I do want good
That's
transparency. I heard the XM5 headsets have good
well, it
transparency.
sounds like you kind of want a smart doorbell, is what you're
Yeah, I'm
describing.
gonna
Like,
have to. I think.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know if I
Or good
recommend.
pass through. Those are the two options.
Well, it's been very useful for me to have the Ring doorbell at my house, so I can be like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I get a notification on my phone, somebody's at the door, because I can't hear anything with
Yeah.
these things on. So
Yeah.
that's how I like it,
I might look into saying because like I was still getting weird static issues with the earbud XM5s.
Right.
Um but I might not have like a specific saying to like cancel the back or cancel like I don't know, there's probably some other thing I need to check, but it's like I was getting annoyed with it and so okay.
Oh, that's another thing.
Turn those off.
These headphones have it so you can. They have what's called background music mode, so you can make it sound like you're listening to music inside like a cafe or like a certain
Oh,
room
I
or
don't
certain
yeah,
thing.
I don't understand that.
Or you're in like a cinema or something. I don't know. I haven't used it. That doesn't sound like anything I would be particularly interested in. But yeah, I got the XM6s and I was like, these sound different. I don't know if I like it. And I was like, but then after like a day or so, I was like, oh, okay, these actually sound pretty good. I was just using the out
Yeah,
like
I had to I
what
was
was
using
this?
normal equalizer.
I'm just using the out of the box stuff. I don't really fuck around with
Okay.
EQs. I'm mostly
Okay.
just flat. I don't really.
Oh, I want flat, but what comes out is very different. So I found with my XM3s, I had to boost the middles and
Yeah, I
lower
think they're quite
the bass
bassy.
slightly.
They're quite bassy usually.
Yeah. Sony stuff is always bassy.
Um, but yeah, I think they
But
sound
on these
fine.
ones, on the XM4, oh sorry, on my so my headset, my XM4 headset, I had to do a very similar thing to my XM3s, but with
Yeah.
the I went through the customization like, on the app, like the customization is like it just like 4 steps. Like, oh, here's some sounds. Which is your favorite one, sort of thing. It's like 4 steps of that, and then it credit equalizer where it's like it just boosted the middle a little bit and then boosted the highs a lot more. And it's like yeah, and then I was comparing it to my old. I was comparing like almost not quite one ear, like two, both of them sort of thing, like the old ones and
Yeah.
the new ones, but That's sort of what I was doing with the same music tracks. And it's like, oh, okay, that now sounds very similar. My issue with the default, especially with the XM4 headset, I did that immediately with the XM4, sorry, XM5 earbuds. I don't know how it sounded, but when I put the XM4 headset on and listened to some of my music, I found the defaults it completely destroyed like Linkin Park, like string instruments, and like some of the
Right.
like the industrial parts of it. Like, it completely destroyed it, and it's like, okay, I need to change the equalizer.
I think maybe it could be just you're not used to it. Like I found that.
No, it was quite. I could barely hear certain instruments. Like I had to boost it.
Because I with the XM6 I got them, I was like, oh, they sound quieter and different. And then I turned the volume up, and then I got used to them, and I turned the volume down again. And I was like, actually, like, because the sound driver definitely they've changed it. It sounds different, but I think it's better overall.
You do get different, depending on what volume you're at. You do get different profiles as well. Like it will subtly change. But no, I always make sure it's like a very similar volume level.
Okay.
I just like, but I genuinely was like, I don't think I can get used to it. Like I find it like, I could barely hear like guitars and things like with my XM4s with my ears. Like I appreciate it's like something like some of this is like how my ears work and how my brain processes sound as well.
I think it's interesting people buy headphones for different reasons, because like a lot of people would be like, I need like a good EQ and good sound signature and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I'm not an audiophile, so I honestly don't notice the difference between like lossless audio or like MP3s and stuff like that. But for me, I like the Sonys because they work with everything. They have I think from my experience, some of the best ANC that I've ever experienced, be that only the Sonys and the Jaybirds. So yeah, they're good, and they're comfortable. Yeah,
they're very comfortable. I was gonna say, I was looking into like the whole like the mathematics of like MP3, like the way like you like compared to quote unquote lossless.
Yeah,
it turns out that MP3s, at least in like the very specific, like this isn't. There are probably other issues. Like I'm not an audiophile either, but there are probably other issues where like the losses is better. But in terms of sampling like a specific like noise or a specific like an audio wave, MP3 is actually like perfectly lossless. Like you can describe. I think it's like mathematically you can describe a complex. I think it's a time for about every second, wherever the interval is, you can describe a sound wave perfectly with like 10 points. So the fact that you're using more points is actually completely irrelevant. Your processed sound that comes out of the headset will be exactly the same.
Well, you need to plug it into your gold cables through the crystal.
I didn't do that. Admittedly.
Right. No,
my platinum cable and gold connectors.
I do think that to a lot of people there is a perceivable difference in audio.
I think there are other things that lossless does, but not the sound wave itself. That is mathematically the same.
What was I was thinking of? There was something with watching YouTube in 4K if you don't have a 4K screen is really good, because it forces the bit rate to be streamed really high. And I think bit rate is so much more perceivable than actual resolution for a lot of like online videos.
Yes.
Is that sort of like, would this almost be like a audio example where like FLAC technically, people are like, oh, it's lossless, but it's doing other things under the hood more so?
There are other. It won't be the. I think that. I think when I see people talk about, they talk about, oh, there's more samples per thing, and now I've like looked at this mathematical thing. Is like I don't think that's what makes a lossless thing better. I've never heard of lossless thing. I'm not an audiophile. I've never done the comparison. I don't know, but mathematically, it's like the MP3 way of like compressing the wave is like a perfect compression. You're not losing any information in that specific regard.
I love music, but I'm like willfully uninformed about audio stuff because I have spent too much money on like having the best looking monitors
think
and PCs, and like I've
yes.
gone down that path of the enthusiast, and I'm just like, I like music now. Why ruin it for myself by making it sound better?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing as well. Is like, I just like, does it sound good? That's what I
Yeah.
need. Like, I can listen. Like, it just needs to sound better. And like, and at that point, it's like these are the quality I like. I've got the EQs to where I want. They're slightly different, but different versions of the same sort of device. I kind of know what I'm like. I can definitely like hear a difference in like EQs, like going to different people's cars and things, for example. So it's like yeah, different people want to hear different things as well.
I just wanted to. Oh, that's a bright white website.
Right,
Yeah, I've got the OLED on. You know, got the OLED on.
the number one.
Yeah, so I told you last week I literally opened the box and I was like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
test this out and see what it's like, and I did. I've tested it only on my Switch actually. I haven't actually connected it to a PC because I was more so interested how you connect a third party controller to a Switch because I've never done it. I've only ever used Joy-Cons. And I tried multiple ways. So I was like, let me try because I was like, I wanted to get because when I play on my Switch, I play through the Elgato 4K. Because I got the 4K one because I was like, well, the Switch 2 is going to come out and it's going to accept a 4K signal at some point. So I'll get the 4K version.
Yeah.
So I can just slot the 4K the Switch 2 into there when that comes out. I don't actually have a TV in here because a lot of people what they'll do is they'll they'll put one into the PC and one into their TV and they'll play on the TV. But I'm playing straight from the capture card because I'm like, well, I can just pull up the preview window on my computer and play it on there, which has latency.
Yeah.
The Elgatos are pretty good for latency, but I was playing on the Joy-Cons, which are shitty wireless Bluetooth controllers, and then I was playing like capture card latency, and I was playing Super Mario Maker, and I was like, man, it feels so floaty, and I'm like, maybe Mario is just kind of a floaty game. I don't know, like it's hard to pinpoint like what is like the actual point of like, am I just feeling latency because of the game?
Like,
am I feeling it because of the capture card? Am I feeling it because of the controller? So I was like, let me try and rule some stuff out. So I was like, so it comes with a USB receiver. So I was like, oh, the Switch has USB receivers on it. I could plug the USB receiver into it, and I could use 2.4 gigahertz to connect it. So I tried plugging it in through 2.4 gigahertz and then running it like a gaming headset or like a wireless Elite with the dongle. I couldn't get that to work at all. I tried multiple times. Then I was like, okay, I'll just zero latency. I'll just plug the controller in with a USB cable into the dock port and use it as a wired controller. Surely that shouldn't be an issue. Couldn't get that to work at all. So I was like, damn.
Is that saying you have to change? Like
I tried because it's the one with the screen, right? I can turn the screen.
Yeah.
Let me go on my cam. It's the one with the. Let me just turn it. Oh,
so I know some devices are weird. It's like they want you to specifically like turn wireless connections off before it will go through the wire.
But yeah, I tried turning it off. It's on switch mode. It also has RGB lights for some reason. I don't care. But anyway, you basically go into this menu. You control it with like the analog stick, which I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I was pressing the A button to go forward, and then it's like, no, you have to use like these little home buttons at the bottom just for the little screen menu, which is like whatever. I guess it's so you don't like while you're changing around your connection settings, you don't affect things in the game because I was navigating the menus on my connection type on the little screen, and it was like moving around stuff on my Switch. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I could understand why you would want to not do that on the face buttons as well, because that could mess around with stuff. So I connected via Bluetooth because it's listed as Switch compatible, and I was like, okay, let me test this out. I connected it via Bluetooth. Immediately works via Bluetooth. The Switch is just like, just use a Bluetooth controller. Like, I was like, okay. And I looked into it as well because I was like,
drivers,
surely you can just plug in the Pro controller, like the original Pro controller for the Switch One. Surely you can just plug that in and use that. And I was looking into it and I was like, I wonder what the latency difference is between using the Bluetooth on the original Switch One Pro controller versus having it over Bluetooth and having it plugged in. Apparently, from people's tests, the Pro controller has better latency via Bluetooth than it does plugged in directly into the system. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with Nintendo? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, the thing is like that's gonna be like OS or like under the hood, like how it handles like different protocols and things like that.
But like with Nintendo, I just
any number of things can be problems.
They are so like I'm just always going to assume like the third party experience is going to not be as good as the first party stuff because I'm getting a Pro controller for the Switch 2, like the new one. But I was using this controller and so I was able to use I've used Hall Effects joysticks to play Mario Maker and they feel fine. I need to connect it to my PC at some point.
Well, find something with like more precision.
Yeah, I want to try. I think Street Fighter 6 is what I'm gonna.
Have you changed the settings for dead zones and things, or?
No, I haven't fucked around with dead zones. There is
Okay.
What do they?
That's where you really feel it.
There is you can change the triggers short stops, so you can make them short or long, which is really useful. Because I was like, for racing games, you want to granularly push them down for like acceleration. But in like Street Fighter, I just need to press the RT button as quickly as possible. There is no need to hold down the RT or the LT button. So I could see myself playing fighting games with like the short press triggers, which is cool. So it has that. It has analog. It has Hall Effect triggers. So I have used the Hall Effect, and it feels like a joystick, I guess. People always talk about like, oh, Hall Effect is like magic, but it just kind of feels like a joystick. I don't know. I guess it feels slightly smoother, I guess. But that could be placebo.
It depends on the software, but there should be more. Yeah, there probably is placebo stuff there for sure. Like always the bad things.
Well, it has very like tactile, like clicky buttons.
Yeah.
But yeah, from what I've experienced so far, it's pretty good. I like the controller. Like I like how it feels. I think in the because it's almost like an Elite controller, right? But then you have that like big fat screen in the middle. Like the hand feel is just a little bit off. Like in terms of hand feel, the Xbox controller still has like the hand feel for me in terms of like DualSense is DualSense is its own thing, right? And I like the Edge more because it is more like that elongate. It's more like that Xbox controller way-ish. But like, I think if you've got smaller hands, you might prefer this controller as well.
I was gonna say like for me it's like I've said this on the show before, but it's like to me like I really like the old DualShock thing way better than the Xbox controllers. I think I have hands with dual controllers. I much prefer the DualSense to the
it says interactive screen. The screen is not a touch screen. You have to use like a little buttons in a menu, so you can't do that. And the screen is pretty much just you can set like specific profiles. You can be like, I'm playing on the Switch, swap these buttons around. You can do stuff like that. But the menus are pretty much just for which device you're connecting to. So it changes its protocols for like the Switch, the PC, or connecting to Android. It has specifically an iOS one, but as we all know, that's just Bluetooth. And
that's why I find weird though. Like when you connect with all of these things, like it kind of knows what device things it uses. I don't understand why it can't change some of the things on the fly depending on how it connects. That I find a bit suspicious.
Yeah, like because the thing is, you need like a specific protocol to get on the Switch because Nintendo is very like proprietary.
Yeah, that's understandable. But why would you not just inbuild that into your system to be able to? They're just like, oh, I'm connecting to a Switch. I'll use this protocol
the screen
internally, never to show the user.
There's not that much interesting stuff they do with the screen. With this thing, it's basically just to switch what protocol you're. connecting to. Yeah, it does show battery life, and it's just to edit the RGB stuff. That is pretty much what it's for.
Okay. Yeah.
But like,
But you think it compromises the shape for that?
a little bit, yeah, because it's such a weird shaped screen as well. I would like it to be like a bit wider out, like the Xbox controller. I think it would feel a bit better in the hands.
Yeah.
And it comes with a dock, which you can just plug one USB cable, C cable into it, and then you can just put it onto the dock, and it has like pogo pins, so it'll charge it, which is really good. And then it has the ability to put the USB wireless receiver into the bottom, so you can connect it in there, and then that would give you the ability to just connect to the dock, rather than connecting, because the
to be behind the
you just need to you just need one cable to do the power and one cable to power the receiver, right, to the PC. But the bottom compartment in this is empty. It doesn't let you. It's literally just to transport it. You can't plug it in. Whereas on the, I think it's the 8-bit DOE, you can do that. You can use the charging hub as a dock in order to charge it and as a receiver. So you only have to use one cable. They could have done that, but they didn't. Maybe they were cutting costs. I will say, like, this is not an awfully expensive controller for what you're getting. Is kind of good.
It's pretty cheap.
Like, when you consider how much like Xbox and PlayStation controllers are, and you could probably get this cheaper somewhere. I don't know how much it is. Like, let's have a look on Amazon. Amazon might be the most expensive, because I know, like, with like 8-bit DOEs and stuff, you can usually get them cheaper on the. I think it's like, is it like AliExpress? You can probably get them cheaper on.
Maybe.
But like yeah, but like a normal like PlayStation Xbox controller, it's going to cost you like 50, 60 quid anyway. And I think this is going to cost like £60 on Amazon. So it's like it's in that weird category where it's like you're getting Hall effect, you're getting adaptive triggers, you're getting these clicky mechanically feeling buttons, polling rates. You're getting the USB connection if you want, the ability to play with a Switch. You're getting a screen for what it's worth, but it's just like it's in that category where you're paying as much as you would to just get like a Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller. I don't know if it's worth the hassle, or like if you just want a controller to play with the Switch, you could just get a Switch Pro controller. I don't know if it's, again, like, it depends. Like, I think I might have drift on my Elite controller, and that's a fucking bummer, because this is an expensive controller. Because like playing Street Fighter, I cannot drive rush anymore, and every time I do it on the D-pad, it works flawlessly every single time. I need to start. Like Retro Game Corps reviews handhelds and controls all the time, and he has what's called the Contra test, where he goes into Contra and he tries to wiggle the D-pad around to see if he can accidentally put a diagonal input into it. I need to start doing the Street Fighter 6 test on controllers, where I just see if I can drive rush parry on them on the stick and the D-pad.
Like, one thing with the controller, like, I guess it is like some of it's because like it's multi-platform, like it's like validated to work on all of these other devices, which may be
if you just want like a one controller solution, that it might be a good idea to pick up something like this. There's a V2. I honestly have no idea which one I have, because this was a review sample from my sister who does Amazon.
So the white one looks better than the black.
So this could be the version 1 and the version 2. I don't know. I tried to look it up. I couldn't figure out how to figure out which one it was. But yeah, it's fine. It's good. It's Hall effect. Sony, I've used a Hall effect controller. It feels fine. I don't. If it stops Joy-Con drift, I think that's awesome.
Well, yeah, I think I think it slows it down, and there's I think gives you other methods to like try and solve for it with like dead zone compensation and stuff. Like there's just more things in software you can do to try and fix it, or to maybe not fix it, but to get past the problem. But I'm curious to how it works on PC though. Like if you've never, so you haven't plugged it into, or you haven't connected it to your PC, I suppose.
No, I would probably try and because I was using it with a Switch, so I was just setting that. But I would probably try and use the dongle, I guess, and then try out Street Fighter. I've been playing other games, which I probably should talk about at some point. The games I've been playing this week. I did play a platformer, but it's not the platformer you would think it would be, and I was just using the Xbox Elite there. Like the Xbox Elite is my default controller for PC because it's the most comfortable, it's the most well built. Because that was what I was going to say. You might not be an absolute freak like me, and I think I own 2, 4, 6 or 7 controllers at this point.
Oh my god!
Not that I don't regularly use. I bought a bunch of controllers to use for like LAN parties for like my Steam Deck sort of thing. So it's not like but it's just like other weird. I have other weird controllers. Like I have the original Steam controller, which is like a tiny piece of a fucking controller, and I used to use that all the time to control my PC from bed. It was the best controller to control your PC that was out there.
Yeah, like, famously that controls you like, oh, you can play City Skylines 1 with this controller.
But yeah, I think what I need to load up Street Fighter 6, and I need to try drive rushing with the analog stick. And if it doesn't work, I need to. If I can't consistently do it with the analog stick, it might mean that I don't have stick drift, but I have found like other inputs with like this controller have been weird. Like, and there's specific games where you need like Celeste, for example, is a game where like going up and going diagonal are 2 very different inputs in that game. That Celeste would be a really good game to try out Hall Effect on to see the variation there.
I guess they'll test latency as well, right? Because like, you'd feel it.
Yeah, I mean, I played the entirety of Celeste on my Steam Deck, which is with those joysticks, and I was getting annoyed by it. And those are not Hall Effect, but I don't think they were drifting, so it could be that I'm just bad. What I was going to say is I'll test this out with Street Fighter, and then my choices are to. I think if I can't get it to work with this controller, I would probably just switch back to the Elite 2 and just play with D-pad. I would just learn D-pad rather than analog stick. I just find it more comfortable to use the analog stick, but from using the D-pad on Street Fighter 6, it's definitely very consistent to use the D-pad in terms of playing. Okay. So, yeah, there's my long rant about controllers.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Let's move on. Tony, should we talk about some games I've been playing this week?
Yes, yeah.
I have been playing a game called Pokerogue, which I'll talk about quickly. I don't actually have any footage of this. I was talking to you about this, and I was like, do you know like half of the Pokemon that exist in this
No.
any generations? Because I was going through. So basically, I played Pokemon when I was a kid. I played like the first generation, like the original 150, red and blue and yellow. I played Crystal and I think Silver on the Game Boy, and then I played I didn't own a Game Boy Advance or an SP, so I didn't play any of those Pokemon games. And then I came back and I played Diamond on the DS, and that was pretty much my Pokemon history. So Pokerogue is a roguelike version. So straight up, it's a fan game that is completely browser based. So you can just sign up, make an account, and just play for free. It is again an awesome Nintendo fan project, which means any day now Nintendo lawyers will be barreling their way to stop people having fun.
Quick, download the source code.
I think
Host it locally.
somebody's already compiled it on GitHub in order to run locally,
Okay.
and there's a Linux version, so you could run it on a Steam Deck locally.
Oh, huge. Yeah,
I'm just using the online
that is
version
huge.
because I've got it linked to an account. So if I play on a different browser or on a different PC, I can just continue my progress on there. Because I know there's also mobile versions of this. So people have compiled it for Android, and I think there's a way to do it on iOS as well. So
I think I just want a quick note before we get into it, is like this is obviously a pixelated game, and obviously the later Pokemon are not normally
3D.
pixelated, right?
But then
3D, but even something like with like HD is like I was going like I was originally like because you brought this up, and it's like I was guessing like, oh, what percentage of Pokemon do I know? It turns out like 400 out of 1,000. I think it's like just over 1,000 that exist right now. It turned out like 400 like I was like confident with, and it's like, oh, I don't know the rest of it. So like I've been out of touch with Pokemon for a little bit as well, as it turns out.
Well, because I came into this game and I was immediately like, I don't know like any of these Pokemon. Like I know Charmander, Bulbasaur, and
you're
like,
confused with you can. I'm a bit rusty with the but like the weaknesses and like strengths.
Yeah, I'm like because you get Pokemon. It's like this is a Steel Fairy type, and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, those are the two newest types. To be fair, I think there's another. There's like Cosmos or something. A type I've never heard of.
There's like Steel Fairy. There's Psychic. There's Ice. There's Rock.
So I think Steel was added in the last game you played though. Like, I think
Diamond had Steel. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the first time we saw that. And that might have had Fairy as well. I don't remember.
But basically, the idea of this game is you basically start with all the generation stars. I think they've gone and they've added like every generation of Pokemon is on here, which is crazy because I haven't played any Pokemon game. It's like here's every single Pokemon generation at once.
I don't think that's ever been done.
It's never been done before in the history of Pokemon fan games. But basically, you get a starter team which has a numeric value, and the numeric value is based on how strong the Pokemon is. So, like, if I want a Charmander, he's worth 3, and I have to fill out a team of 10. So, if I wanted to start, I recently just caught a legendary, so I got an NTI or NT. People were making fun of the way I was saying it because I was like, I legit don't know who, like, I don't think I've played the game this Pokemon is from. I might have, I don't know. I had because I played the Crystal version of Pokemon, so the legendary for that one was Suqueen, or whatever they were called. But yeah, you start with a team. You basically get to choose your starters, and you basically start with only the starter Pokemon from the all of the games. And as you go through and you capture a Pokemon with a Pokeball, that adds it to be used as a starter later. So you can start another run with a different starter if you've captured it, which is really cool. And basically, it's like an endless waves of fighting Pokemon, and you're trying to capture them and build up your team. And when all of your Pokemon pass out and die, you die. And it's like, well, how do I get like Pokeballs? Every time you defeat an enemy, you get like an option where you're like, do you want to take a heal? Do you want to cure a status effect? Do you want to take extra Pokeballs? Because like it basically adds like a resource management to Pokemon. So because the only ways to heal are to after every fight you get money. You can't just go to the Pokemon Center, right? So you basically have to every 10 waves you fight a gym leader or a trainer, and that's like a hard fight. And then at the end of every 10 waves, you fight a boss Pokemon, which is usually a stronger Pokemon, so you might want to capture them. But also, when you defeat the boss, it like fully heals all your Pokemon up. So that's like your Poké Center, basically. And you're basically just trying to keep your party alive until that point, and it progressively gets harder and harder and harder. And there's different Pokemon, and you can level up your Pokemon and evolve your Pokemon. And it's just been really fun. I've been really enjoying Pokerogue because, like, not only is there like that roguelike thing of every run is different, and I'm using Pokemon I've just never used before, which is like I was playing Porygon as my main carry for the team, and I was like just learning what Porygon does, and I was just like, they're interesting because Porygon is like a normal type Pokemon, but they can learn like electric, fire, and psychic moves. And then I was basically you can do what's called setup. So I was using what's it called? Nasty plot or something, which basically here's an example of something. I didn't understand the difference between special attack and attack, because whenever I play Pokemon, I just take every move that says it deals damage and then just spam it at people. That's how I played Pokemon as a kid.
Yeah.
Turns out there's a big difference between special attack and attack. And you can tell the difference between attack moves will have like a red explosion next to them, and then special attack moves will have like a blue ripple next to them, and they have different scaling. I've learned like how important like IVs are in Pokemon, like your actual like health and attack and special attack stats, how important natures are. You can change the natures of your Pokemon, and natures are important for leveling, because I don't know if you know this, but based on the nature of your Pokemon, it influences your stats. So if your Pokemon has a nature that gives you plus speed, your speed IVs will get more points than your other IVs. So it has a bigger influence on the leveling system, which is really interesting. Yeah, I've been doing different stats. There's also, in this game, there's shinies. I've got a shiny Zigzagoon, and shinies are not useless in this game. Shinies have the ability to increase your luck, because every time you defeat an enemy, you get a random 3 items. So you can be like, you can get like a Pokeball, you can get like a Great Ball, or I've had a Master Ball before as like a really rare item and stuff like that. You can get rare candies. Basically, every item that exists in Pokemon you can get in this game. And there's a lot. My only complaint about this is somebody who hasn't played Pokemon in like probably 20 years. Probably less than that, but like 20, 15 years. There's a lot of stuff this game, if you haven't played Pokemon in that time, there's a lot of stuff this game just doesn't really explain to you. And I've had to look up guides to be like, okay, what is Pokevirus? What do shinies do? Like what starters are good? Like, and like your stats carry over from fights. So if you do stuff like a Dragon Dance or a plotting move, that will carry over, unless it's like a gym encounter or a boss encounter, which resets. But I found like a good strategy is usually to have like a carry unit and then use that to like level your other Pokemon up with XP alls, which you get as you go through the game. So like I was using like Porygon, I buff him up with Nasty Plot, he gets like massive special attack, and then I'm taking like Flamethrower and Electro Bolts and Psychic, and then just basically using him as like a magic user carry. But then I want special attack on him as his main stat, because I'm trying to buff him up. You also need speed as well. Speed is really fucking important with Pokemon, because Pokemon a lot of the time comes down to who can one-shot the opposing Pokemon first. So speed is really important, I've learned. And so you want fast Pokemon that have high like attack stats. But you can also play like defensive, like I randomly catched a Snorlax, and I was like, I don't think I've ever used Snorlax in like a Pokemon game, but I was actually like building a team around Snorlax where I would have him. Snorlax can do stuff where he can purposely go to sleep, which heals him. Is a move called Rest. So it basically makes him go to sleep, which heals him, which is really good in Pokerogue, because it's really hard to heal in Pokerogue without spending a bunch of money, and money is really hard to come by. And then Snorlax can do stuff where he can attack while asleep by using stuff like Snore. And I was doing like a lot of really interesting stuff. Like, I don't know, playing a roguelike version of Pokemon just basically made me play Pokemon in ways I'd never played before, which I thought was really interesting. But I've just been having a ton of fun with Pokerogue, really. We need to tangerine this, because I could talk about this for hours. And just
I didn't think I finished my. I would say like I used to think all that the later Pokemon like the last few generations like looked really bad. If you think that, go and look at the pixelated version. And just like you might have the same opinion, but I think I still dislike, or I don't like the newer stuff as much as the older stuff.
But yeah, I'd say
but it's a lot better in pixelated form than 3D form.
But yeah, if you're wanting to play this and you're like, man, you haven't played a game in a while, or you're just not sure, look up some YouTube guides. There's a Poke Calculator is really useful. I use this stuff all the time. It's basically Pokemon type calculator. You basically just go, what is a fucking steel fairy type weak to? Oh, they're weak to ground and fire. What are they strong against? Oh, they're strong against fighting, rock, ice, dragon, dark, and fairy. So I'll pull out a normal, or I'll pull out a water, or whatever. Or you would want to pull out fire. Fire or ground would be like you can start to like figure out like what's strong against what. There's also a setting in Pokerogue which turns on type hints, which is really fucking useful. Type hints will, because it tells you the type of every Pokemon next to them. It's like this is a fire, this is a steel, or it's just a fire or whatever, right? But it also makes it so when you hover over your moves, it goes, this move will be super effective if it's like in, I think it's like green, and then moves that are not as effective are in like a red color to say like, oh, this will not deal as much damage. That's super useful. And then there's also a GitHub page I was using which just had like Bulbapedia is fine for like looking up Pokemon and be like, what moves can this guy learn? But there was a GitHub thing I found which basically was really fast and just gave you the information immediately, which was super useful. Because a lot of the time, Bulbapedia will be like, hey, here's a bunch of information about their deep lore on the anime and stuff like that, right? As this website.
Yeah, was like even like that.
So if I'm like, oh, what does Bulbasaur do? Bulbasaur, here he is.
The only thing that
levels,
Bulbapedia does better. Yeah, the only thing Bulbapedia does better than other ones is like show like evolutionary like things, but it's like that's not that complicated.
I think Tony, like rather than Tangerine for Pokerogue, I think doing a spotlight on it would be. I think if you see Pokerogue being played, it's way easier to understand.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, so I've played Pokerogue, which is been consuming a lot of my time. It's really fun, and it's cool to get back into Pokemon because I just haven't played a single Pokemon game in such a long time, and I think that's partially because. Whenever I play the Pokemon games, I was playing them handheld on the go on like my Game Boy. I preferred like the simplicity of like the 2D ones, and like I went and I played Pal World because I was like, oh, something interesting with like Pokemon you can capture. Sorry, not Pokemon that you can capture, and
creatures.
But yeah, like because they're bringing out a new, like, was it like Z and A on the Switch and the Switch 2, and I look at that and I'm just like, I'm just not interested in this at all. Like,
no, they're not adding anything interesting. I feel like Pokerogue adds an extra like layer to like the actual strategy because like it's not like it's a very basic JRPG Pokemon. I think they do need to add more to it. I think
that's what I was going to mention as well.
Add an extra layer.
I've been getting more over the past couple of years playing turn-based JRPGs. Like I love Persona, I love Metaphor. Yeah. I've been enjoying playing turn-based RPGs, and I think fundamentally that is what Pokemon is. It's just a very well, it's mostly simple JRPG.
There's less things, but I guess it can. Yeah, I guess there is things that can combo like be more complicated, I suppose. But simplistic from the start, at the least.
I mean, the Persona has the advantage though because it's got the romance system, and I'm sure many people would love to be able to romance Pokemon, based on what I've seen.
I'd love to romance like other trainers though. Like, I think that there is something to be said about relationships in Pokemon. I think that'd actually be pretty cool.
Yeah, it could be interesting.
Because even like the show, like the cartoon, right? It's like that. They're always like it's like friends and like relationships together, but you're always alone in the Pokemon game. I just find it quite odd.
But yeah, basically, I've been getting into Pokerogue because I saw it on Twitch. Like, I do get influenced a lot by stuff I watch on Twitch. Because I've been watching people play like Nuzlocke, Soul Lock runs of Pokemon. Do you understand like the concept of a Nuzlocke run? Nuzlocke is pretty much if the first Pokemon you encounter, you have to capture it. And if that it's kind of like adding like almost like roguelike rules to Pokemon, where it's like if that Pokemon faints, then you have to release that Pokemon. You can't use it anymore. And if you run out of Pokemon to use, you have to reset the run and start again, sort of thing.
Okay, right.
But the version I was watching was a randomizer. So every Pokemon you encountered was completely random. So you could go into tall grass and encounter a legendary immediately, for example. or just like you could go and you could fight like a trainer, and they would have like a Weedle or some shit, you know, just any Pokemon at all. But they were doing a Soul Lock run, and the idea of Soul Lock is you both play the same Pokemon game, whether it would be like they were playing the randomizer version, and when you capture a Pokemon, your Pokemon is then tied to their Pokemon. So if they kill that Pokemon, you have to release your Pokemon, or if you kill your Pokemon, they have to release the Pokemon that was tied to that one as well. And I was like, that's a pretty like interesting co-op way to do it. But it's like people want to play Pokemon in different ways, but Nintendo doesn't give them the tools to do it. So they're just like, or should I say Game Freak?
And they
doesn't give them the tools to do it. So they're just...
and they don't innovate enough to add things.
You know, people are just making fan games and they're just adding their own like self-inflicted rules. So...
Oh, man. I would love just like a 2-player co-op version of just like of Pokemon, where it's like you're just in a party, always doing like teams sort of thing.
Yeah.
That'd actually be really cool. I get like you'd have to build up from the ground up to like to accomplish that, but I get that's different. But I just think that'd be a really cool thing. They could they try like they do like Poke Sleep and stuff. It's like, can you not just like add some stuff to the next game? Like, add something new.
It'll have fun. It'll have function with the Nintendo alarm clock. You know.
And Mario will start making sounds. Yeah. The Lego Mario guy will start making Pokemon sounds with the update.
It's the year of the dong, Tony. Come on, show him some respect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also played Leap Year, Tony, which I've actually played and finished this. It was a short game. I was listening to the No Clip podcast, and they were talking about the Outer Wilds because... Jeremy, who is on the podcast, he loves weird video games, but he hates playing DLC, and he was very much just anti against playing DLC. And for the longest time, they've been like, play the Outer Wilds DLC; it's really good. And he broke his DLC rule by playing the Elden Ring DLC, which he didn't like. But then he was playing the Outer Wilds DLC, and he was like, "This is really fucking good." And I'm like, yes, the Outer Wilds is a really fucking good game, and the DLC is even like its own thing, and it's really good. And I was like, I was just thinking, I was like, man, I fucking love the Outer Wilds. It makes me want to play the Outer Wilds again. It makes me want to play the Outer Wilds DLC again, because they're both really fun. And I've been playing Blueprints recently, and Blueprints is this another like Metroidvania genre. And Jesse, who's on the podcast, was saying like, oh, again, I'm going to recommend Leap Year. It's like a very short, like if you want to give someone the experience of playing the Outer Wilds without playing it in like a short form way, like this gives you those like aha moments, like to play. And I was like, you know what? I was looking for something short to play, so let me just. It's like £3, £4. I was like, I'll just buy Leap Year and play this game. So I have played it and finished it, and yeah, it's pretty decent. It's the easiest way to describe it is it's kind of like a platformer with full damage. So you'll go down one block and you'll be fine, and then if you go down 2 blocks of length, your character will just crack his legs and die basically, and it leads to like this like Metroidvania thing where you're like, well, how do I get down here? Because if I fall that much distance, I'm going to die. And it is one of those like, it's like that puzzle platformer, like you know, I would almost compare it to like Animal Well as well, is probably the closest thing to it in terms of like the Animal Well is its own like fucking thing where it's like very expansive. Yeah. But like, yeah, it is. So like, for example, I don't know, it's one of those games where the less I tell you about it, the better. But I have to talk about it like briefly to be like, oh, okay.
Like the core mechanics.
Yeah. So like when you fall from over 2 blocks, you die, right? But then I was like, I started falling from more than 2 blocks, and then my character turned purple, and then he could survive full damage and bounce. And I was like, wait, this changes everything. And then it's just like, there's a lot of moments like that where it's suddenly like, okay, what the fuck is going on? Now I understand, like, how do I get to this part? And how you're collecting numbers of the year February, which is a leap year. So you're trying to get to the 29th day, which is the leap year. And it is very much just that little aha moment. Right. For the most part, I was fine. I think it took me about 3 hours to finish the game. there is like a big like ending moment where it's like you've figured out all the mechanics and it's like, okay, now it's time to test you. And it's like, I feel like I'm playing Celeste upside down. And I'm like, oh God, it's really like trying to test me now. And I was like, that might have actually been my favorite part of the game because it was like, it was basically, I was going through everything I'd done and everything I understood. And it was like, okay, it just felt so interesting to be going through very familiar areas and being like, it's like a completely different puzzle now. I liked that part as well, but I think it's an interesting game. It's not my favorite game. I didn't love Leap Year like I love stuff like The Outer Wilds and Blueprints. So I would, because they just released a DLC for this a couple of months ago, and it was like it adds like 4 more hours of content. It came out in like March, I think, this year, or February this year. And it's basically like we've made it even bigger and added more stuff. And I finished Leap Year, and I was like, I think I'm done with this game, sort of thing. I'm like, it was pretty good for what it was, but I feel like adding, because it said it was going to be more challenging than the base game, and I was like, I don't think I want that. I think I like the amount of challenge I got from the base game. But yeah, you might be interested in this game. You might be interested to know there's more of this game if you want to play it. But yeah, I enjoyed Leap Year, and I maybe wouldn't recommend it to. I don't know if I would compare it to like. It does give you a very quick idea of what a Metroidvania is about, but it's definitely not the best in the genre. Like, The Outer Wilds is still like up here in the heaven, and then you step down, you have stuff like Animal Well, you have stuff like Blueprints, and then you have stuff like Leap Year. But I want to see more. What I've realized is I want more, for lack of a better word, Metroidvanias. I want more puzzle games. Yeah, I want more platforming puzzle games.
Or puzzle elements.
Yeah, I want more games like this because I fucking love them, and I want more of them, and they're really fun.
Yeah. I think I agree with that. I think it is a very interesting type of game. Even if I don't play like, I do like hearing how they work. Like I just do find
you know how I always complain about I used to complain about being bad at puzzle games, and I'm not the biggest fan of puzzle games. And I was talking to my friend Jesse the other day, and he was like, "Why do you complain about being bad at puzzle games and not enjoying playing them? You're always playing puzzle games." And I'm like, I kind of am usually playing a puzzle game, despite complaining about them a lot.
Yeah.
But like, I think it's just I like a specific type of puzzle game.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like I don't know if you can call it necessarily a puzzle game, but it's like. Okay. I like board games, but I absolutely detest trivia board games.
It's like I absolutely adore deck builders and auto battlers, but I hate most strategy stuff. Like I don't like RTS and
that's interesting.
Stuff like that.
Like you don't like most puzzle games, but you like there's specific types of puzzle. You don't like strategy games, but you like deck building, which is definitely like some sort of strategic element to it.
It's interesting. Also, Tony, you want to talk about Eurovision quickly? We both watched this.
Yes, let's talk about Eurovision.
It was won.
I guess quickly, yeah.
It was won by Austria, right, with the lighthouse background.
Yes.
You were very confused. I was like, "This is literally Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse," and you were like, "I don't know what that film is." And I was like, "If you'd seen The Lighthouse, you would be like, yeah, this is."
I did.
The Lighthouse.
Yeah. I did remember. I looked it up and I now remember, as I didn't know it was called The Lighthouse was the problem. I think I thought it was something else for some reason.
Again,
I had seen that vision before.
The UK. So if you don't know, Eurovision is voted by judges and the public, and they split up the votes based on the.
It's like 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty much. Yeah, I think.
I
don't know how it's weighted, but it's like each country gives 12 points, and then they add them together.
Yeah. So the judges, the top vote, because I was saying like the judges they pick their top 10. The top one gets 12 points. The public one was the same. They everyone would vote But then they go through that per country, and the top one would get 12 votes to that country that everyone kind of collectively voted for.
Yeah.
So I think it is like split 50-50.
But yeah, as is tradition, the UK, they got points from the judges, but they got 0 points from the public, which is pretty fun. I didn't like the UK's.
It was an alright showing. I know some of them didn't like, but I thought they're alright. Like if you like, I think like more like
we had
Taylor Swift stuff, you'd like
San Marino, which is its own country and definitely not part of Italy. They submitted. They had one of the members of Eiffel 65, the Blue Aberdeen Bubble Die, and I think they get last place, like they were dead last sort of thing.
Something like I think they were last place. Yeah,
we had people like Tommy Cash, who's like a YouTuber. He was Estonia's entry. We had Icelandic Jedward, as people were calling them. My favorite acts of the night were I think by far Ukraine was my favorite.
I'm not messing.
Ukraine.
It got better, again, but I had it before, and then I was like, oh, it's alright.
The thing is, like most Eurovision songs, you want something like really catchy and something that people are going to be like, yeah, this is a song I'm going to put on. It's a big celebration. I feel like with Ukraine songs, it was like genuinely an interesting song. And
you say that, but how did Italy get so many points from the public?
Italy got most of its points from the judges, right? I believe. I think so.
No. They got a huge amount they got a lot from the judges, but they also got points from the public as well.
It's because Italy had subtitles embedded into the song. That's what it was. Do you remember that?
I was expecting. Oh, yeah. I remember Scott Mills or whoever the guy was saying like, yeah, I think Scott Mills' joke was
for the semi-finals. It was Scott Mills and Ryland Clark, and then for the finals, it was Graham Norton for the UK.
Yeah.
But I wanted to mention about Ukraine had like this. I thought they were interesting because it was like this 70s rock, almost like prog rock song. And it was like
it was interesting.
The way they were shot as well was really good. It was like overexposed. It was like they had these like flashy outfits. It was super like
very pink,
very like bloomy almost. It was almost like you were watching an old episode of Top of the Pops, and I wanted
to watch my CRT to get the phosphorus.
I fucked heavy with like the song, the vibe, and I just really liked it.
Yeah, it wasn't my vibe. I really like Germany's entry. Like that was my song.
I liked
ba la la la.
Yeah, it was a good message as well from Ukraine. It was about like the people coming back together and finding each other, like flying like a bird, right?
Ukraine almost always has a really good message, I would say.
But also, like the one I liked after that was Latvia was really interesting. See, I just like interesting music, which you don't normally get in Eurovision. You just get like here's a pop
This is the most eclectic one. Yeah, but most eclectic stuff this time around.
But Latvia was
I'm looking for Euro trash, and that's what I want. But I think this probably makes more sense.
But like Latvia was almost like an Afrobeat drum with like almost imagine like the Witcher music, and I was like, this is something I could put on.
Yeah, I think Latvia was my second favorite. I think I did a small list of like my top three. I can't remember what my third one was, but I think Latvia was my number two.
Of course, every year I have to watch Spanish Eurovision. They always send
Spain is always great. Yeah,
they always send like a crazy woman, and you have to watch it.
I know what they can always sing. They can always sing. They're always a good performance.
Yeah. So yeah, we watched Eurovision. So what would you rate if you had to rate Eurovision out of 10? What would you rate it out? Just for no reason.
I think I did. I don't think I normally watch the semi. I did not like the semi-finals. I had something about it for some reason. It's just like it just seemed very slow and meh.
I normally don't watch the semi-finals, but I watched half.
I don't think I'm gonna watch the semi-finals again. I'm just gonna go straight to the finals. I think
I watched it. I watched it because
it was pretty cool.
Usually people in the UK don't watch the semi-finals because we automatically qualify to the finals because we're part of what's called the Big Five, where we pay so much money to Eurovision they legally have to let us in to the finals. We get like auto-seeded to the finals, and then get 0 points. But yeah, I usually don't watch it because the UK is straight through. But I was watching it with my friend who's Swedish, and he was like, Sweden had to qualify. So he was like, I want to watch Sweden. I was like, okay, I'll watch this with you and see if they qualify.
Yeah.
And they were one of the bookies' favorites this year. But Batsu, they were.
It wasn't my favorite.
What? Yeah, I wasn't my
liked
favorite. It was okay. It was like a meme song almost. It was a bunch of Finnish guys singing about being in a sauna. Was the
Yeah.
which I was like, this is
A lot of
what
meme
this is what
songs,
Sweden
actually,
is all
I
about,
feel.
you know. Yeah, like Tommy
Yeah.
Cash was for Estonian. He was singing about Italian stereotypes.
It's-
So I was like, okay.
That's really funny. I don't like the Sonia song, but I appreciate for what it is.
Yeah.
I think I like that it exists. I'll say that.
But I've been watching. I started like just because Eurovision the thing was always on, and I never watched it because it was just something that was on. It went on to like late at night, and you might watch it with your parents, and you'd be like, okay, it was on. But I just a couple of years back, I think it was when the pandemic was starting to hit, and I was just like, why don't we just all watch Eurovision together? And I've just been enjoying watching it with my friends. So
the quote unquote gay vibe was strong, and I think I appreciate that.
But speaking of gay vibes, The Last of Us Season 2 has been and yeah, it's pretty gay.
Turns out Ellie's gay.
Well, Tony, you can look at the critics' reviews of The Last of Us Season 2 at 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, and you can see the audience reviews of 39% on Season 2, and I'm like,
people. I don't know if you saw it when the part 2 game came out.
I saw it. It received a lot of backlash, and
like
it's
like, oh, the character I like died. It's like
half of it I understand. Yeah, from like, okay, you may have really liked this character, and they are no longer in it.
I hate Game of Thrones. They killed my favorite character, Ned Stark. Spoilers.
Don't spoil season 1 of Game of Thrones, Tony. It gets so good at season 8.
I can see if people make the argument, oh, this character died. I don't know if you want to say the character. I think everyone knows, but if this character dying, like them, like made there's no other interesting characters to replace them, I can understand that argument.
Do you want to know how I found out about which character dies in The Last of Us?
Oh, go on.
I was literally because I listened to podcasts on my bicycle. And one that I listen to regularly is the Louis Theroux podcast, and Bella Ramsey, who plays Ellie in The Last of Us, was doing a media tour, and she was speaking to Louis Theroux, and he was talking about the show, and he was like, "Yeah, so I've been watching The Last of Us, and I've watched episode 1 and 2, and spoiler alert, this character dies." And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, I'm literally riding my bicycle along, I'm listening to this podcast, and he's like, spoiler alert, and immediately this happens. I had no chance to not be told this information. So I was like, for fuck's sake.
But that was like the first thing I knew about part 2 of the game. It's like, oh, he dies. So
yeah, I knew okay, we're gonna have to talk about spoilers for The Last of Us, I think, at this point.
Yeah. You have 5 seconds to leave.
You have 5 seconds to leave. When I watched The Last of Us Season 1, and because I've never played the games, I know nothing about the games, but the way people reacted, reacted to The Last of Us, the first game, was like, oh, it's such like a sad, emotional game. My thought was, oh, okay, Joel dies in the first game.
Oh, in the first game.
Because people are like, oh, it's this emotional like father daughter bonding thing. It must be that he dies and she has to carry on, and it's like a sad thing, right? No, he does not. For the whole time, I was like, when's Joel gonna die? And then I watched it, and I was like, did they change the actual story? It's like, no, season 1 of The Last of Us is like shot for shot the first Last of Us game, from what I understand.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah.
Season 2 is kind of a mess because they're still trying to. So, season 1 of The Last of Us, it's not awful. It's still like well shot. It's mostly well written. My issue with The Last of Us season 2 is not the gay people, which people seem to have issue with.
I don't
have gay characters. I don't care. I've just talked about watching Eurovision. Bring more gay people onto the
people
screen.
went crazy that there's no way Abigail can get that buff. It's like, have you seen buff women? Like, what are you talking
about? But yeah, anyway. With season 1, they were like, okay, season 1 is just the first game. They release it in COVID, and it's a show about a viral infection taking over the world, it goes absolutely viral. They then go, oh shit, this is really popular. We need to make more of this as quickly as possible. And
is this the problem?
Season 2 feels very rushed, and they're like, okay, we need this story beat, we need this story beat, this story beat. From what I've heard, so I just want to put it into context again. Season 1 is the first game. The second game is going to take place over 3 seasons of television.
What?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
And I don't know how long the second game is, but like, I've watched the season 1 is 9 episodes, I believe. Season 2 is 7 episodes, and I've watched the first 6. So like the finale is actually on later tonight, so I'll be watching that.
Right.
And it's like we've not really got to we've had the big like episode 2, like, oh shit, we're killing off Joel. This is the big emotional. I understand, like, especially the fact they got Pedro Pascal to play Joel. I think Pedro Pascal may be one of the most beloved actors in the world right now. Like, if I was making a list of the most beloved actors in the world, it would be like Pedro Pascal, Henry Cavill. Who else? Like, I don't know. Hugh Jackman is pretty.
Hugh Jackman.
Maybe like Ryan Reynolds or someone like that, right? That might be like
possibly.
I don't know, but like,
I think we're getting to honorable mentions at that point. But but yeah, for sure.
But then like they immediately kill him off episode 2, and I'm like, oh, I think this show is gonna struggle. So like episode 6 that I just watched, Tony, the entire episode is a flashback of Joel, and I'm like the entire episode has no progress on the story other than being like, let's fill in gaps of like world building and stuff. And I'm like, have they realized how much they fucked up by killing like one of the most influential characters and actors in the world right now in terms of like
but that is the story.
That is the story, and that's what happens, right? And like Neil Druckmann, who works on the game, is working on the show.
So I think from like the I don't know how far, if it's taking 3 seasons to do the second part 2 of the game. I don't know how far season 2 is through. But my understanding of like part 2 of the game is like it was like a weaker story than the first one. If you ignored all of the non-existent problems that some people had with part 2.
Yeah, people
too woke.
People are complaining it's woke because Ellie is a lesbian in the show. And she has a female love interest, and her female love interest gets pregnant, and she's like, I'm going to be the daddy of this this baby, which, you know, I'm sure is pissing a lot of people off in the world.
I don't know why, though. What is the actual problem? Like, can you put into words the problem?
Me? No, I don't care.
No, not you. No, I'm talking hypothetically.
But they were talking about it on like the Louis Theroux podcast with Bella Ramsey, because she was received like an insane amount of hate for being on this show.
Really?
Yeah, people are like, because the main complaint is, oh, she looks nothing like Ellie, which I think is just like a dog whistle to say I don't like this person because of what they represent. Which that's its own whole like issue to get into, but yeah, I don't know, like, because it's like, oh, this character looks nothing like his character. It's like, they're a fucking actor. Like, do you truly believe that Pedro Pascal looks nothing like the Mandalorian, or like or like just I thought Henry Cavill looked absolutely nothing like Geralt, and when I saw the still image for Geralt in the Witcher TV series, I said, that looks like Superman in a wig. That looks so fucking stupid. And I can't have been more wrong. Yeah. He's a fantastic actor, and he completely destroyed that role. It was great.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Like, if with different mannerisms, you can like trick the brain to be like, "Oh no, that's they're playing this other character." It's like if you're a good actor, so yeah,
Um,
it makes a world of difference.
but it's like literally Neil Druckmann, who made the games, he saw Bella Ramsey and he said, "This is a really good actor. I want them to play Ellie in the TV series." So they did. Because apparently, there's like a real life, because Neil Druckmann's doing the new game with what's it called? I'm trying to remember. It's the new the Intergalactic,
Right.
the Heretic's Prophet, and the main character in that is based on a real life actor, and apparently they've had to give them like training for the amount of hate they've already received for being the actor that's based on that video game.
Okay.
Like, we live in
I guess
crazy
you knew it's
times. We
coming
live in crazy times, you
from
know.
the game's response.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It's like, what is the actual issue?
But isn't this actor also in The Last of Us? Yeah, because they're playing this character in the new game, but they're also a character on season 2 of The Last of Us, and I guess that's maybe where Neil Druckmann saw them acting and was like, "Oh, okay, we want you to do like face and body capture for the new game as well," which might have been interesting idea.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, I have an issue with the pacing of this. It feels very much it kind of reminds me of Squid Game season 2, where it feels like
Yeah.
they could have just put one story into one season, but they were like, "No, we're going to give you half a story and we're going to cut it up so we can release more seasons and just draw it and extend it out." And I don't like that. It's still pretty well acted. It's still got pretty good like characters, and you know, the cinematography's still good, and you know, it's a good show, but it feels a little bit like they're dragging it out so they can just make more money, which I guess is how businesses work in our current year. But yeah,
But you're making it a work. Yeah.
but it's funny, like, because you can look at like the ratings of individual episodes and stuff like IMDb, and it's like episodes with Joel's are like, "We love this," and episodes with like without Joel, it's like, "Fuck you, this is an awful episode. It's got lesbian stuff in it." But yeah.
Don't. Yeah, I don't that I don't understand. If it's like, oh, without Joel, like there's no good character, then fair enough. If it's like, oh, I don't see the character I like. I don't understand that argument at all.
Yeah, but the whole to go into like the story of season 2, I'm not sure I love the story of season 2 either, because it feels like they're doing like a cyclical thing where Joel creates a Abby, and then by Abby killing Joel, Abby then creates another Abby in Ellie, and it feels like we're just gonna go in a revenge like hatred circle by then her going and murdering all of them, right?
I think that is the theme of part 2, and presumably there's a good or at least some exploration of that, not just, oh, it's always guaranteed.
We're just gonna do the same thing again.
I do think there is a resolution in the game. So I do think it's not totally dumb. It's just like not done as well as it could have been. I think I'm just trying to remember like the reviews at the time of the actual game, but
yep. All right, Tony,
it's been a while now.
Let's get on a lighter note. Let's talk about some comedy anime. My Dear Friend Nokatan, or Shika Noko Koshi Tash Tan Tan, as you would say from the theme tune.
Okay.
This one's a bit of a anomaly because this is an anime from last year, and it was really fucking popular when it came out. And now that it's fully out, and the sort of like the hype's died, nobody talks about the show, which I find really interesting, because I'm wondering if this was like a show that was popular because of like it definitely was a show that was popular because it had like it was like super weird and bizarre. You had the Shiko Nuka 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 Koshi Tash Tan Tan like intro, this catchy like memeable thing. It was deers everywhere, and I watched it. And I normally really love comedy animes, like that's sort of like my thing. But I watched this and I was like, I finished it now, and I feel like for the most part it feels more like XD random humor. There is some funny stuff in there which
Oh,
I
okay, yeah.
like, but it's mostly nonsensical in not an entertaining way for the most part. It's very meta as well,
Right.
which being like, huh, how come we're now wearing summer uniforms? And the narrator's like, yeah, it's never summertime in the manga because then we would have to animate different stuff. So it's only going to be summer for one episode, and then we'll go back to just drawing the winter uniforms and stuff like that, right?
Right.
Like if they made another, because I think the manga might have just finished of My Dear Friend. I'm not actually sure, but it is meant to be like a comedy gag anime. Um, and if they did another season of this, I don't know if I'd watch it. Like I see a lot of people talk about this show now, and they're like, "This is a show that was really popular when it aired, and like almost like overhyped because of memes, and now like nobody talks about this show." But I thought I'd give it a watch because I think my brother liked it, and it's on Crunchyroll. I basically watch everything on Crunchyroll now. Like Crunchyroll just has. I think I talked about this before, but I got I started using my brother's Crunchyroll account, and I
Oh,
think the
yeah,
only
yeah.
thing I can't watch on Crunchyroll, I'm watching like 15 airing animes, and the only thing I can't watch is Lazarus because it's on Adult Swim. So that's the only thing that I
Okay.
have to
Yeah.
go elsewhere to watch. But yeah, if you wanna watch anime stuff, you can pretty much watch everything with just a Crunchyroll sub, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I finished Nokotan, and I started watching Horimiya. I'm going back to my tried and true method, Tony. Do you remember Heroes, the TV show about
Oh, yeah,
what
yeah.
heroes would be like
Yeah.
in the real world? This has nothing to do with
Yeah.
this show, by the way. I'm just going on an absolute
Okay.
tangent.
Okay.
One
Okay.
thing they would say in that show was they would always have one non-super powered person um, with a normal human being in the company, and they'd be like, one of us, one of them. Whenever I go and I'm like, which anime am I going to watch next? I always go one for me, one for them, and I always just one for me is I just pick some like romance crap, and I'm just like, this is for me. And then the next one I watch is like, oh, this is like a critically acclaimed anime. Like after this, I would go and watch like Vinland Saga or like just something that's like people are like, oh, this show's really good, and then I'm like, this has like a 7 on my anime list, and it's some like random romance crap. This one's for me, sort of thing. And
Right.
I don't actually know where Horimiya stands on that list because it's kind of romance stuff for me, but it's also really well received. It's got an 8 on my anime list. Basically, the key story is you have two characters, Hori and Miramora, and they basically start interacting with each other. So Miramora inside school is very quiet, and he doesn't really talk to anyone. He has long hair and he wears glasses, and he's always wearing his jacket. But when he goes outside of school, he basically changes, and it's revealed that he basically has a bunch of like tattoos and piercings, and he's basically hiding them from school because you're not allowed to have that sort of stuff in school, and people in Japan will look down on people with tattoos because it's considered to be a
Yeah.
symbol of the Yakuza to have
Yeah.
tattoos. Um,
Was like recently here, it's like you can't even. I think I can't remember what it was. It's like you can't. What's the word? Like you can't
you can't open like bank
stop someone from going to work because
accounts.
of tattoos. You can't.
Oh,
I
and
can't remember what the word is, but well, before it's like your work can tell you not to have tattoos, but I don't think that's allowed anymore.
in the UK, you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
I was saying like people. I've heard like former
But,
Yakuza people have tried to open like bank accounts and they see the tattoos and they're like, no, we don't want any business with you, sort of thing. Like people are very like
yeah,
prejudiced still
yeah.
against like people with tattoos.
But why wouldn't you just get someone who's not tattooed up to open a bank account?
Well, and they just like proxy own a bank account? That sounds kind of illegal.
Sure. They're the Yakuza.
No, but he's an he basically saying he was somebody who's like, I'm going straight. I've given up crime. I just want to live life now.
Oh, sure.
And it's like, no, you
Oh,
in the
sure,
Yakuza.
sure.
Fuck you. We're not doing business with you. Which interesting. But anyway, tangent.
Yeah.
Basically, he starts going to this girl's Hori house because he becomes friends with her little brother. They start interacting. She sees this. It's basically like two characters get to see a completely different side of each other. So Miramura is this completely different person because he's like more easygoing and he's not having to hide who he is outside of school. And then Hori is this completely different person outside of school because her mother's always working, so she has to be more of like a mature figure, and she has to look after her brother and make dinner. And it's an interesting story because most like romance animes are just like, here is like this shy nerdy character who's interacting with a popular character, and they just like kind of speak to each other a couple of times, and then eventually they end up speaking to each other. But it's like these people are almost living like double lives in this show, where they're like two completely different people outside of the show. And I think kind of the strength of Hori is not just the relationship between the main ship, but the side characters are all pretty interesting so far from what I've seen. Like, it goes into their relationships with each other, and it feels almost like a more mature romance show, considering they're like high schoolers, which like 99% of romance shows are about high schoolers. But because you have this angle of like somebody who has like piercings and like, you know, somebody who has to grow up quicker and has to look after people, you know, it tells a different story, and I've been enjoying that from what I've seen so far. I've watched about 7 episodes of Hori Mia, so I'm about halfway through now. But yeah, it seems pretty cool. And it seems like people generally like it.
It sounds more interesting show than the other.
But Tony, last week I alluded to the fact I had some emergency trash in the. Just a quick update on animes I've been watching this spring season. This is spring season section, Tony. We can skip over. I have watched 4 episodes of Gorilla God's Go-To Girl, and I've watched 4 episodes of Once Upon a Witch's Curse, and I've dropped both those shows. I've officially gone, don't want to watch these anymore. I gave them 4 episodes, and I'm not interested in them anymore. So those have been dropped.
Okay.
And I was like, well, 15-ish animes. I've got space for another. I've been watching the Shuinji Family Children. And Tony, I think I explained the plot to this last week, but it's essentially a man who lives with 5 beautiful sisters, and then one day their dad comes along and goes, by the way, you're all adopted, you're not related. And immediately things start to kick into gear, where it's basically a harem. Because there's the younger sister, Kotono, apparently was already trying stuff before their dad had announced that they were adopted. And he was like, oh, Kotono, you must just be like confused. And she's like, no, I'm just fucking in love with you. So like immediately from the get-go, we have all these different
right.
Like, because like one of the sisters he believed was his twin sister, so he's very close to this girl, and now they're not related. One of the Bonri is the older girl, and she's in college, and she's like a much more mature woman, and like they start to go on like these semi like date things, and then there's the athletic tomboy one. There's the nerdy like statistics one who's like running tests on him to be like, I need to make sure that you still see us as sisters. I'm going to run some tests on you. It's high potential to be prime trash, Tony. This could be some of the best trash anime of the season, and I've been enjoying it a lot so far. I started watching it dubbed in case I wanted to drop it and there'd be less episodes to watch, so I have only watched 4 episodes. But I kind of like this. It is good trash.
Okay. It's good trash. Okay.
Yeah, I could understand if you look at the show and you go like, what the fuck is this? But this is kind of par for the course for Japanese anime, being like...
Yeah.
This is a classic like rom-com situation It's just like, you now live with 5 beautiful girls and you will form a harem with them, even though you thought your entire life you were fucking related to them. And the one thing I'll say, like, Shikonoko is really meta. One thing I found with this show is they're constantly like being like, because he has this, there's one other brother. Because the whole thing is our main character is the oldest brother of the family, and he's the heir to the family's fortune and stuff, and everyone's like looking to him. And the other brother, he has a girlfriend already, so he talks to him about like what's going on with the family. They just all found out they're adopted, right? And he's like, yeah, it's almost as if you're inside one of those rom-com animes, like constantly. And I'm like, yeah, it's a little on the nose, but it's not super meta. It's not like a Shikanoko, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But I thought that was funny that they were already like, you would only see a situation like this in a manga. That's crazy. As I do my dubbed anime voice. But yeah, I'm interested to see where this goes, because where does this go? I actually don't know where you go with this. You probably just keep leading people along and keep all of the sisters open as options for as long as possible, but you sort of like form relationships, because you want people to be like, oh, this is the best girl, and it's not like canon that I have to that it's this other girl, right?
But do you want to know what happens to relationships after, though? Is that not important with these sorts of shows, like friendship?
So, like,
well, I guess they're family, sort of.
Going back to Horimiya, the way that Western romance and Eastern romance is very different in terms of like anime versus media. Is usually in Western romance, you start with a couple that's already together, and you show like the romance between them as a couple, and like the troubles they have to face and the dramas that comes across being a couple, and you might have like, you know, other people involved. Most like Eastern like anime romance stuff is like, it's all about the anticipation of them getting together. Will they get together? Will stuff come in the way? It's that very like, you know, that like, oh, they're holding hands and stuff like that, right? It's very much.
But that definitely exists in Western stuff as well. It's like I've watched a couple of things. Where it's like I talked to my parents about it. It's like, oh, so when they get together, it's going to be over. And it's like, no, I don't think so.
That's very much how it feels with like romance anime. Is like them actually getting together is like the end almost. It feels like with a lot of
I just feel that it shouldn't be considered the end. It should like be the start of something. It's the end of.
It's all about the chase. It's all about the chase. You know.
Yeah.
But they weren't they?
It's the. Yeah, I agree that it's like that is a chapter in people's lives, and I think that's important to explore. But is there more to it afterwards? I don't know. I just think you could continue personally, and I think. Maybe we need more.
But
I think even like in Western stuff, we have too much.
Personally, I find like I like more like The Dangers of My Heart is like a slow burn romance anime. It's like, they're slowly coming together. It's beautiful soundtrack, great acting, and like story and stuff. But like the second they got together, I'm like, where do they go from here? I'm just like, this is like and I have found like shows where they do get together and they carry on. I'm like, I'm kind of getting bored of this. Like, I don't know where they go from here. Like, I find myself being more interested. Yeah, exactly. But like, I find myself being more interested in the stories where they are slowly coming together, and it's more about that, like the tension building of them getting closer but not quite being together, sort of thing, right?
But I just feel like when you don't just suddenly know a person so you can get together. Though. Like I feel like there's still more adventure. As Chief O'Brien would say, it's the biggest adventure is getting married.
Oh well, there it is. You'd love to say it. That man knows his holodeck kayaks as well. You know, you can always trust a man like that.
He's still kayaking to this day.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep watching Shin Yunji Family Children. I'm almost tempted to switch to sub just so I can watch more of it. I'm really enjoying it. I mean, currently Ballpark is my like comfort anime of the season, but like potential to be prime trash, Tony. Right here.
Yeah.
This is my kind of bullshit. Right. And I'm still watching fucking Summer Pop. There is some animes where I'm just like, I'm still watching because we're like episode 8 for the most part of like a lot of the stuff I've been watching. So we're like 3/4 of the way through most of the season. But yeah, I think my shows I would recommend are still Apocalypse Hotel, Kowloon Generic Romance. Oh, Apocalypse Hotel, the latest episode had a fucking cliffhanger. We've had our first cliffhanger in Apocalypse Hotel. Like, it's getting I love Apocalypse Hotel. It's so interesting. Witch Watch is still great. Yeah, and My Hero Academia, Vigilantes is still really good. So those are the best ones. And then continuing Summer Pockets, and I really like Aharon. It's like a rom-com. It's great. And then I really love Catch Me at the Ballpark. That's a great show, but I don't know if that's for everybody. And of course, I'm still watching Put Them On Takamori-san. 8 episodes in. Gonna have to finish that one up. See what's going on in that one. But yeah, let's move on to trailers. We have Warhammer announcements, Tony. We have Warhammer Space Marine, the original game, is getting remastered. The second one was so popular, I guess they're trying to be like, oh, okay, here's the first game again, and you can experience... Is Titus his name, right? Is the...
Yeah, he's captain in the first game. You
Captain
got demoted
Titus.
to the second one.
Yeah, well, you know, he may or may not have touched Chaos.
Yeah, he touched Chaos and he withstood it, and apparently, even there's documentation that that's not the case. It's only a Chaos Marine could have done.
I was watching because I've played this game in the past couple of years, and I think you've literally just pretty much finished this game recently.
Yes.
And I was looking, and I was like, it looks pretty much like the game. I mean, it definitely looks a lot better in terms of like the textures and the 4K-ness, but like for the most part, it's fairly similar.
It's fairly similar.
I think unironically the most important part is that they have remastered the controls, because I think the controls are like very unintuitive for what they were at the time. But like,
there's some clear.
They specifically said like on the page they're like, we have made a more like modernized control scheme plus interface overhaul. I think, like, to me, I think that's probably the best change they made.
You know what? One thing I want to see more of. I think this is the limitation of like texture stuff. I want to see like more persistent blood and like just like crazy with the blood stuff in the remaster.
But that's coming out soon. That's coming out in like 3 weeks.
Oh right. Yeah, that's crazy.
One thing I wanted, because my friend, I was like, oh, the Space Marine's getting remastered. He said to me, I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, it has all the DLC in it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fairly sure the DLC for Space Marine is just like weapon packs and armor packs. It's not really anything substantial. And then he was like, but there's map packs. And I was like, yeah. So there is technically like a co-op mode in...
Yeah, it was a pack on co-op. Yeah.
It's basically like it's almost like a waved fence. It's its own separate thing, and it's not like more story content or like campaign content sort of thing. So I think it's just kind of there's no additional content here.
It's not integrated like Space Marine 2 with the co-op stuff had like its own like a parallel story to the main game where you're going to this one goal.
And then we also got an announcement of Bolt Gun 2 as well, which I'm not hyped for, but I am like cautiously optimistic about. Like, Bolt Gun 1 definitely had some flaws. Like, the biggest one was the fucking getting lost every 2 seconds in Bolt Gun 1. Which they later, like way too later down the line, added like a map system in order to be able to navigate around, because I was constantly getting lost in Bolt Gun 1 when I played that on Game Pass. And they have like specifically said on the store page for Bolt Gun 2 that adding a navigation guide to effortlessly navigate the battleground so you're always at the center of the combat.
Yeah.
One thing I found with Bolt Gun 1 as well was it got a bit repetitive, samey, like the enemy types. They said they're doing like more enemy types in this one, but I'm wondering if it's just going to be like
I've seen
new enemies and then just copy paste them more past that point sort of thing. I mean, Bolt Gun's combat was interesting to a point where you kind of had to like match whether you were using like the energy weapons are like the armor piercing weapons, and you have to like change what you were shooting them with based on the enemy you were fighting. And like I think like was it like Nurgles were weak to explosives and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, I think if they could add more enemies and with the old stuff, then obviously like make the level work well with that. I think that could work.
And with another trailer here, we have you wanted to talk about this Anno 117 Pax Romana.
Yeah. Okay. First question: How do you say that date?
117 is what I would say.
It is 117, not 117. It's 117.
I think both are correct. That's just the one I chose.
Okay. Yeah, so this is I think it's cool. Small response. Said this to me. It's like he's big fan of ancient Rome, and so Anno always looks very pretty. And it's like it looks like more Anno with the ancient Rome thing basically. And there's like one system I saw in the preview or like the overview sort of thing was like looked different. It was a religion system. I don't know if you don't know, it's about like different, like having lots of islands. Every island can have like its own religion. You can like which changes. I don't know what the modifiers are, but it changes some stuff, I suppose. I thought the only thing I saw was like, oh, this is slightly different. They might have slightly enhanced like some of like the buffs and debuffs like certain buildings have, but that was always there, but made more explicit now.
Anno's sort of like a real-time city builder, isn't it? That's sort of what it's like. Right?
Yeah, there's like slow like naval combat, you could call it. Which is interesting because yeah, it's weird because like you obviously like need like port connections, like that is a very important part of the game, but you can technically like never really destroy someone inland, although I think the idea is you're meant to like conquer other people. So
yeah,
I don't know, but they did show armies like in the I don't know, maybe there will be armies like proper armies in this game. I don't think there's ever been.
I'm just looking at the I can see Z fighting here, so that's interesting.
Oh yeah,
left that in the trailer.
Yeah.
But it's top down. It's lots of detail, sort of thing. Like you're never going to see that without like
it's not
hardcore zooming in.
It's not. Yeah, and you're not like following a specific place. There's no like pop simulation like it is like City Skylines, for example. Like it's very much like some NPCs were generated
on fire
around the building, sort of thing. Yeah.
I was gonna say the only thing that I got jump scared by this because I was watching it, it's like, oh, Ubisoft. Like it's so do you have to use like Ubisoft Connect on PC to play the Anno games?
Yeah, there's normally I don't know if they've changed 1800 recently or anything, but the last time I played Anno, I had to. I only ever buy Anno games through Ubisoft because of this problem. Because I hate having to launch. I hate launching third-party stuff through Steam. It just makes it so much awful. So it's like I just Uplay or whatever it's called now.
I think it's called Ubisoft. In a couple years. I think it's called Ubisoft Connect.
Yeah, I think I've been in my shortcut to Uplay, so.
The only thing it does is it connects me to the uninstall button when I get rid of it, you know?
Yeah. But you need to interface with it if you want to play their games, so I'll just won't have the added complexity of having it through Steam as well. And it's not like, I'm gonna forget these games exist. Like I'm always gonna remember that.
I was gonna bring this up as like maybe if we run out of things to talk about the anime awards and how Solo Leveling won Crunchyroll's Anime of the Year, and I just it's as I explore new mediums like watching anime, Tony, I get to complain about more bullshit awards giving awards to shows that don't deserve them. It's like when we do the Steam awards.
Have flaws. Yeah.
So
popularity stuff is a problem. That's the issue.
I don't know if I would personally. I would not say that Solo Leveling is a better show than Dan to Dan Free Run, The Apothecary Diaries, Delicious in Dungeon, or even Kaijo Number 8. But that's what the people have voted for. So
they probably don't even know about the other ones. So
yeah. Oh, I did want to mention because I wanted to talk about this last week and I forgot about it.
Okay.
So I need to mention it now before I completely forget. Shutdown is not the same as restart on your PC. I was struggling with my RAM just being absolutely hammered, and I was like, "Oh, I'll just shut down my PC." And somebody was like on a forum post was like, you should restart. And I was like, well, just shut down. It's the same as restart. No, it's not. On your PC, if you have fast boot enabled, shutdown will hibernate instead of shutting down. And this can cause a lot of issues with stuff like installing drivers or updates not actually properly installing. So I've turned fast boot off, and as soon as I did, I actually got all of my RAM back, and it actually fixed some of the like memory leaking issues I was having. So just to let you know, if you're having issues and you're like, I want to turn off my PC to make sure it's fixing any issues, you can either restart to guarantee it will turn off and not hibernate, or you can go into your power settings and you can turn off fast boot, and that'll fix that. There's a PSA that I legit didn't know existed on like new Windows systems.
I have heard that before, but I always forget about that piece of information.
Because I just assumed that shutting down was the same as restarting, but it's not on like modern OS.
That would be a good assumption to make.
Shutting down is just restarting with extra steps, is what I thought. But okay. Do you have anything else to say about Anno other than just looking at the initial?
It looks good. More Anno.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything
you said you weren't sure. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying you weren't sure if you were interested in more Anno, but
no. I'm a sucker. I like the Anno side of play. I would like more innovation. Like I am a sucker for like they put a lot of effort into the art. It is very nice looking.
Okay.
If it's as good as 1800, like in terms of like mechanics, then I guess it's more Anno 1800.
Oh, I do need to mention. I don't think. Oh no, I'll just quickly mention this. A huge announcement here, Tony. Unannounced Garfield Kart All You Can Drift from MacLeod has been rated in Australia. We might be on the precipice of a new Garfield Kart game. Just a hot, off the press notification.
That's off the press announcement.
Yeah, just to let you guys know. Let's move on to releases. So the first one I wanted to check out was Chambers, which came out in the 12th of May. Welcome to Revolver Punk. Chambers is the comedic RPG shooter set in the weird Wild West. Cook the boomstick, finger catch some bullets, and wrestle that fella into your pocket. And this has very positive reviews from the 80 people who've played it. I saw this game, and I was like, this is Chambers the Outlaw, isn't it? But it turns out that is a different game, but it's made by the same person? Because Chambers the Outlaw is a free game that you can
is it?
get. Yeah. So it was like a weird boomer shooter that came out like for free last year, and I was in this like cowboy area, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll play this, and I got it, and I just never got around to trying it. But it seems like maybe that was like the basis to be like, okay, now let's do like a paid, like full of more experience. So I wanted to check out like what people were thinking about this game.
The free ones and see what people thought of it, and then they went, okay, I'll continue.
This is also released in early access as well, the new one, the paid one. So fun mechanics. I enjoy yeeing my ha and whatnot, carrying the boy, if you will. But where do I go and what do I do? I know there's a journal. I swear to God, Golden Light makes more sense as far as orientation is concerned. I'm not a big fan of items and weapons wear down. Doesn't really add much besides annoying item management as far as I can tell. The sound and music design are absolutely top notch though. Update, the more used you get to abusing mechanics like rolling, bullet catching, and hat throwing, the easier your time is going to be. Orientation also gets better with time. The game stays absurd, but that's ultimately what I came for. Even item wear down is not a big bother anymore to me, although it generally seems just busy work. Ultimately, a warm recommendation, my initial one. Now go get the gun hose. So you can catch bullets and throw your hat in this game, which is interesting way of doing like a cowboy boomer shooter thing. This game is fun and weird. If you like Ultra Kill or Cruelty Squad, you would enjoy this game, but I have two problems. Certain moves like the kick and the bullet catch can only be used if you're wearing gloves and boots. I don't think it should work like that. Give enemies health bars, mainly the bosses. This could be an option in the setting if the player wants them. If Cruelty Squad and Red Dead have sex. Yeah, it seems like an interesting game. Maybe I need to go back and play Chambers the Outlaw to see like if this is something I want to look at and get into. Then we have Labyrinth the Demon King is the next game, which came out on the 13th of May, which was this really like interesting like first person survival horror like dungeon crawler game that I saw at like a game festival, and it gave me like real old like PS1 vibe sort of thing. Looks super interesting, so I wanted to see what people thought about this. Is it a full release? I think it is. I don't think it's an early access. Pro, it's a faithful recreation of a PS1 era game design. Con, it's a faithful recreation of a PS1 era game design. Yeah, I could see why you wouldn't like it. Kingsfield plus Resident Evil in feudal Japan. So yeah, Kingsfield is like one of the first From Software games, I believe, and it was like a first-person dungeon crawler thing. It was very interesting. Seems like it is like a people are enjoying this. 800 reviews, and it is like an interesting like Silent Hilly like melee slashing dungeon crawler thing. It looks very interesting. Something to play at Halloween, maybe. Might be interesting. Something you could play at Halloween, but you might want to play right now is Doom: The Dark Ages. I've been eagerly anticipating this because I'm a huge fan of Doom Eternal, huge fan of Doom 2016. I really liked the direction Doom Eternal went into, where you were basically like a Formula One car, and it was all about going super fast, like, you know, Sonic with a gun. And this one seems to have slowed down a bit, and seems kind of mixed. I mean, it looks really good. This was also like the second id Tech game that requires ray tracing, because we had Indiana Jones, which requires a ray tracing capable GPU, and we now have this one, which requires a ray tracing capable GPU.
This one a lot more like physical weapons instead of it being
yeah, so you have like
medieval
you have like
weapons.
you have like a mace that you can like flail at people, and you have like a
Yes.
shield that you use, and there's much more like reflecting the green points, and I think you can like melee whenever you want instead of it being like a slowed down like fixed animation thing, but I think you have like a cooldown on it sort of thing.
Is it? Yeah, it's like you have a shield, so almost all weapons are single-handed now.
Yeah. Oh, this is a very
I think the visuals look great on this game, but I don't know what I'd expect. I love the weapon designs of these new Doom games.
My issue with this is I don't want to use Game Pass anymore, and this game costs like literally £70.
Oh, ouch!
For the base edition of the game, so that's not even including the DLC that will be added later.
Yeah, that's insane. I guess it would be on sale.
Yeah, my plan with Doom: The Dark Ages is pretty much I'm gonna buy it when it's like £20 on sale or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And whenever that comes, But I own a lot of games, so I don't need to play it right now. Like if I still had Game Pass,
it's good to be that
I would just play it on Game Pass. But
yeah.
If you're looking for more Eternal, this isn't it. But if you're looking for a new power fantasy game with a tense and smooth combat, then this is it.
I was gonna say, if it's slow, I assume that you're gonna be slower than Eternal if it's like
gameplay-wise, you now feel like a fast-moving tank capable of obliterating everything in your path. The new shield mechanic used for parrying works surprisingly well, though I can see it becoming repetitive for some players. Just waiting for that green attack crew. This might be a controversial take, but I feel the overall difficulty in counter design has been noticeably dumbed down compared to Doom Eternal. Yes, there are sliders to increase the difficulty. It feels like a band-aid than a true solution. Despite the criticism, I generally love the game. I completed it 100% on Nightmare difficulty and I have a great time. Still, it's worth noting this game is €20 more expensive, yet comes with less content, but with slightly longer campaign. This doesn't really justify the price bump. Yeah, it's a lot more expensive than the previous Doom games, and the other Doom games are always on sale at this point.
Yeah.
And it's weird. To price it this much when like it's on Game Pass, so like,
yeah,
maybe they're just trying to like double dip and be like, okay, the people who don't want Game Pass, we're just going to try and get as much money from them as possible. But
unless it's like, can we get people to get Games Pass and they'll accidentally get it spread for an extra month?
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard like
is Microsoft published at this point?
I've heard like mixed things of people saying like it's. You know, it's different from the previous Doom games in good ways and worse ways, but I think like this is a game we're just going to have to play. And I'm definitely going to play it at some point, but it's just too expensive for me to buy right now.
Yeah. I love the visuals of it. Like big medieval. Like I
Yeah.
love visuals like Doom 2016 in Eternal as well. But like this, I like it just really vibes with what I like look up. So
Well, everyone was saying it looks like Quake, and then they were like, but it's Doom, right? Which just seeing stuff like this just makes me want like a modern Quake shooter even more because I love the aesthetics of Quake 1.
yeah,
So that'd be really cool. Next up, we have
I'd be down with Doom
yeah.
like Quake.
Next up, we have Nubs Arena, which I got for free. They gave it away for free on the first time. I've been seeing this a lot more, where multiplayer games will be like, this game is free for like the first couple of days, and then they're just hoping that they can FOMO people's friends into buying it when they don't claim it for free, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like they did this with previously recorded the Landfall game that's kind of like Lethal Company, which I got for free, and then I ended up buying for a friend because I was like, oh shit, I want to play with him, but he doesn't have the game. Let me get him a copy. So I guess that worked on me. And then like there's another one I'm going to talk about later, which has released on Steam as a paid game, but has released on the same day on Epic as their free game of the week. So it's like free on Epic
Okay.
completely on release, but it's paid on Steam. I'm like, that's an interesting marketing strategy, I will say. But yeah, I got this.
Yeah,
I
I'm
have
sure
this
that will.
game. I'm wondering if it's something people would like. It's free. Let's play it, and then immediately just be like, okay, let's go do something else. Let's see what
Yeah.
people are saying.
Yeah.
Impossible to create a friends-only match if you're less than 4 players. This game has a lot of potential. It mixes party chaos with unique abilities, and it's pretty good art style. But right now, it's held back by poor optimization, network issues, and confusing matchmaking. Needs more polish and updates before it's worth recommending to anyone. Yeah, it seems like it was having issues from people who are playing it. Very fun to play with friends. Yeah, generally fun with friends. Because this is the thing, it was like it was free, so I picked it up, and then I'm like, well, who the fuck do I play this with? Because no one I know owns this. unless one of these games comes out and I have to like ring a bell and be like, hey everybody, this game is free, let's all get it, sort of thing.
Yeah. Maybe you do. Maybe you do.
Yeah. Capcom Fighting Collection 2 has come out. I think this is more of the 3D games from the Capcom Fighting Collection. So this includes fan favorite games like Capcom vs. SNK, Mark of the Millennium 2001, Project Justice, Power Stone 2. A lot of fighting games I've never heard of, but would be interested in trying. But yeah, see what people are saying about it. Pretty disappointed that Power Stone 2 is only the arcade version and not the adventure mode like in the Dreamcast version. Solely got this game for Power Stone 1 and 2. Yeah, so I have heard from, I think it was Frank was talking about this in the No Clip podcast. The Power Stone version they have is the arcade version, which is cool for like the arcade fights, but the Dreamcast version had like its own adventure like story mode that is not included because that's on a different version of Power Stone, and they only included one version of Power Stone in the collection.
Okay.
Which is
2 versions needed.
Interesting, yeah. How much is this, by the way? £35. You can get the 1+2 collection in a bundle for £50, and I guess that'll be on sale at some point. Maybe I'll pick this bundle up on sale and I'll try some of the classic Capcom games because I really love Street Fighter 6 from what I've played so far. The issue is I've barely been playing fighting games this year in the year of fighting games, and I have fighting games, but it's like I was having issues with my controller on Street Fighter 6, and I was enjoying playing the online of Street Fighter 6, and I was starting to like plateau, I felt like, with the online stuff, and I wasn't too interested in the World Tour stuff. And I was like, well, I could play Tekken. And then Tekken gets what's considered to be the worst patch in fighting game history, and everyone fucking hates Tekken 8 right now. And I'm like, whoa, I don't want to touch Tekken 8.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, do I just
Tekken 7?
go back to Street Fighter 6 and try and sort out my controller stuff? Do I just load up a random fighting game and try that out? I don't know. But yeah, this seems interesting. Monster Train 2 has come out, which is the sequel to Monster Train 1, which I've mostly seen compared to Slay the Spire, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I have a lot of time on that game. The thing that put me off with Monster Train, like even trying it, because I haven't played the original Monster Train, was you had like separate levels of a train, and it looked much more like a strategy game, which I was almost like, that looks like.
Oh right.
The beauty of Slay the Spire is it's so simple, but has like so much depth to it. Whereas this game looked like a bit more complicated from the get go. But let's see what people are saying.
Yeah, I'm down for slightly more complicated. Not that simple's bad either, but
the worst thing I can say about this game is that someone decided the series was missing a gripping story narrative with dad problems, feelings of inadequacy about your brother, and cringeworthy jokes. The writing and storytelling here would be enough to make a JRPG blush with embarrassment. Fortunately, it's done in 20-second PowerPoint presentations. Between runs, you can quickly recover and try to forget what happened to you. If you can ignore it, this should be a pretty simple decision making for you. Did you enjoy the first Monster Train? Are you nostalgic for fresh factions, cards, and keywords? You didn't play the first Monster Train? Why? What are you doing here? It's fantastic. If you haven't played the first one, you don't need to go back. You can start here and not miss anything. So it seems like it's the old formula, but with new stuff. It's kind of more of the same for the most part, right? That's what I've been playing. I was playing Haste recently, and that's like the endless like speedrunning game, and that has story stuff in it, and I'm constantly just like spamming the spacebar. I'm like, I'm so uninterested in the story stuff in this. Just let me run around and be free. I hate I can understand like wanting to put story in stuff, but it's almost like a deterrent when you add story to stuff that doesn't need it, especially if it's like a bad story stuff. And
that's true for most things. Like if you have bad story,
yeah, just weighs it down.
Yeah,
and then we have
if you don't need it. It's difficult.
We have Deliver at All Costs, which is a thrilling action game with destruction, absurdity, and unique collide. So it's basically like, it's almost like slapstick driving, where you have to like do a delivery while driving around obstacles. Crazy. And yeah, almost like a Crazy Taxi or something like that. But I think it's like top down, like vignette sort of look.
Is this a new roundabout game?
Well, this is the new game that came out. It was published by Konami, and it came out on the 22nd of May, and it's also the free game on Epic. So you can get this game for free right now if you want to. I absolutely love this game. Accidentally or purposely ramming things and leveling entire buildings is sublime. I hit a point where I thought the game was about to end, but nope, there's a second big series of areas. I see a lot of people complain that certain missions are frustrating, as if that's not what the devs was specifically going for. Frustration is part of the journey. You can respawn immediately if you get crushed or blown up in a mission without a loading screen, and checkpoints are very common. My only issue, gameplay-wise so far, is during the RC car mission. If the car gets stuck on its back, it'll just flip back upright, but if it lands on its side, it will just stay there forever, forcing you to manually spawn. One thing that sticks out to me and feels amateurish is the voice acting, especially the audio mixing of the voices. First off, there's some instances of really bizarre language, like people refusing to use contractions in a way that makes lines feel stiff, and some lines with emphasis and put on really weird words.
Intentional?
Sorry? Oh, you think maybe it's like a comedy thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
The thing is with this game,
there's a demo. I'm playing it under the pen.
Why would you download the demo? I just told you it's free on Epic.
No, I've tried to log into Epic.
Okay. You can play the entire demo on Epic for free right now.
No, that's like effort.
That's what I don't really understand about the marketing of this game. It's like,
yeah.
Who's buying this on Steam when it's free on Epic? I guess Tony is playing the demo on Steam.
I guess from their perspective, like, regardless of what you do, if you buy it or get on Epic, they'll get the money. So
I think there is, like, the gameplay says, oh, this is a humorous game to me. But the aesthetics of the game look like very like serious, almost like GTA, like Mafia to me. And it has like noir, almost like 50s sort of vibe to it. Like
I feel like it might be a juxtaposition thing going on. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. To me, it feels like it's an intentional decision. I don't know, but we'll see. It depends how they've executed it.
But yeah, if you want to play this game,
makes a world of difference.
Currently, you can get it for an Epic until Thursday next week. You can buy it on Steam. You can play demo on Steam. I might check this out actually because it's a game that came out this year and it's free to me. I've already picked it up on Epic, so. Maybe I'll also try it out, and we can compare the demo to the full game.
Yeah, maybe.
But that will be the end of the podcast. It was light news week, which means we are 2 hours and 20 minutes in, and You can check us out, youtube.com at Everything In Between Podcast. That is our nickname handle thing if you want to watch the VODs of the podcast and Tangerine Spotlight. Twitch.tv/Scorn if you want to watch live, and shows.cast.com/everything-in-between-podcast. There will be links to the download and the Spotify and Apple podcast version for audio listeners, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.